talk. Let me speak my piece. It's for all my dogs. Coming straight off the leash. She kill 'em all like the Reaper. I need a girl like Nika. She jumping out the gym on all them hoes. Shorty came straight out the bleachers. Hey, she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, she came through with the combo. Cause shorty too lavish. Hey, that girl she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, look, she came straight with the combo.
Welcome to From the DMV Live with Mika. I'm your host, Mika. Thank you for joining me. So today I have a great show prepared for us all, but let's make sure that we're active, that we're live. So we're going to start off with just a video here. Give us a quick little moment so people can come into the room. Let's do my favorite, well, one of my favorites, I must say. And that is, well, before we do any videos, let's do a shout out to our sponsor, right? That's probably where a good place to start. All right, and we're back. That was a shout out to Fort Lauderdale Fiesta, who is the sponsor of our show. Make sure, if you have not already, that you submit your deposits. We're accepting them now, $50 for your deposit. Make sure that you look at thecelebrityfiesta.com for further information, and it's all over Facebook. So I'm just saying, make sure you're tuning in and checking it out. It's Memorial Day weekend, and it's a great time to be had. There's some great new bands that have been added, great venues. I mean, I couldn't say enough. But you saw little snippets. Those were from last year. It's supposed to be even better than last year. I'm just saying. I don't know what you all have planned for Memorial Day weekend, but yeah. Now, getting into our show, our Thankful Thursday thought of the day is, I'm not who I'm going to be, but yet I'm not who I used to be either. I think that's a reason for all of us to be thankful. No matter who you are today or what you're striving to be tomorrow, remember where you came from and the things that you were lacking yesterday or yesteryear and that you've grown into today. And appreciate those things about yourself and about your creator and the greatness that is within you. And know that you're on the right track. No matter what you're doing or who you are, you're being the best you can be is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So let's all be thankful. My guest for today, I'm so pleased to have in the studio. I've been trying to interview this person since before my show even was created. This man is a visionary. He's an entrepreneur. He's a businessman in the traditional sense as well. He's the manager of mental attraction band M.A.B 2.0. He is the CEO of Chocolate City Entertainment. He's the CEO and founder of Distinguished Entertainment for over 20 years now. So over 2 decades in the game. I'm just saying, if you don't have knowledge collected excessively at that point, especially in such a growing journey and evolving journey, then I don't know what you have, right? But this man is a force to be reckoned with, and definitely someone who encompasses a wealth of knowledge. And he's here to drop some information on us, some knowledge on us, a little more insight, and of course, inspiration, because that's what he does all the time. He's also a mentor. He's a wonderful husband and father, not my husband, but a wonderful husband nonetheless. And not my father, but a wonderful father nonetheless. Mr. Butchie for real, or as the people call him, Uncle Butchie.
Hey,
Butchie.
What up? Thanks for having me.
Did I cover anywhere near all the things you do?
I didn't even know that was me you was talking about. You talking about somebody else. Like, who you talking about?
Butchie, you know you do it all. Stop playing. And I mean, and you know I do my research. So you know I had to find some new things that I knew you might not have known, that I knew about you there, you know. So, Butchie, I know you started out, you know, as, well, people know of you as being a promoter. People know of you as being a manager. People don't know, though, exactly where Uncle Butchie started out. So, as a little boy growing up in Northeast DC in the 80s, if you would, can you give us a little insight? What was your childhood like before the entertainment industry hit?
Wow. So my childhood, growing up in D.C., E Street, Northeast, 18th and
Shout out
D,
to E Street. Oh,
Rosedale,
not 18th and
21st and
D.
I. My childhood was actually fun.
I'm sure.
Growing up, it was fun. We did a lot of, of course, playing outside, kickball, high go seek. Well, back then was high go get it. High go seek.
I believe we all played a game or two.
Football. We used to play football on the concrete, so we ain't really going to grass until a little later on than that.
That's serious.
Yeah.
That's serious, definitely.
And then of course, as things got a little, violent and stuff, and just drugs came in, we kind of like stopped doing a lot of those things, and then a lot of guys started getting involved and stuff like that. So, but overall, I had a great childhood. My childhood was fun. Yeah,
the unfortunate part, though, about even though you were out there having fun, you were growing up in the murder capital. Were you aware of that?
My neighborhood was actually probably one of the worst neighborhoods in the world back then.
Yes,
it was a lot of drugs, a lot of killing. Mm-hmm. But it was still, again, it was a lot of fun too. So, but my mom, she was real, strict on me and my brother. So her thing was, hey, if you're going to go out, I'd rather you do stuff in the house. So that's when I really got my first experience as a promoter.
Yeah, let's talk about 12-year-old Butchie.
Yeah, so me and my brother, Alan, my mom, like I said, she was real strict. So she was like, look, I don't want y'all going to these parties and stuff. How about we bring the party to the house? So her thing was have all the kids come downstairs to the basement, and we would have parties in the basement. So that's when I really got started with promoting in my mom's basement, believe it or not.
Between you, Alan, and your mom, do you think any of you had any idea what seed you were sowing for real?
To be honest, I didn't. I didn't know what seed I was sowing. I just know I wanted to have fun, and my mom was like, to keep y'all off the streets, y'all gonna bring all this stuff here so she can control the environment.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's why I had no idea that this would take on to a whole nother level.
Now, tell me something about you and your mom's relationship. What would you say, in hindsight, made it so that your relationship was so strong that she could offer that, as an idea, and you were open and willing and ready?
Well, my mom, I was a single, we was, single household. Let me back up. My dad was there too. I was about 10 years old, and him and my mom, of course, parted ways. But my mom was a strong woman. She worked at St. Elizabeth. So,
that says it in,
right. So she understood crazy. So it wasn't no, you crazy in the house, you crazy in the street. She knew what crazy was, so you couldn't really go over my mother, father, what crazy is. So my mom she was a no nonsense type of person. She was she was strict, but she was also stern too, and she was fair. So we had a good relationship. Granted, we struggled, but my mom ain't let us see us struggle. The lights were never off. We always had food on the table. So, and I didn't realize my mom wasn't really making a lot of money at St. Elizabeth, but we didn't go without.
Right.
So we had a
shout out to moms. Yeah. Definitely. That was amazing though.
And then, because my mom worked a lot, one of the things we had to do was to kind of like do a lot of stuff on our own. So I learned how to cook at an early age, wash clothes at an early age, run chores at an early age. I remember my mom was telling me, I had an Uncle Tommy that used to live with us. And my mom was telling me that, at 5 and 6 years old, I would get on the bus, the bus on Benning Road, and would go downtown to go shopping with my Uncle Tommy. And I didn't know that my Uncle Tommy couldn't read.
Oh, wow.
So he would bring me to the grocery store so I can, because he would be like, Little Butch, what's that right there? What they talk? I said, Uncle Tommy, that's the bread that costs 37 cents.
Oh, wow.
Whole time I didn't know he couldn't read. So I was just like going out, hanging out with him, thinking we was, having fun. And
that
I would get paid
amazing.
To do that. But, so she was like, I learned how to read just at an early age because of that.
And of course, that made you grow even more without realizing that you were.
Right.
Yeah, you're like, I'm hanging with Uncle Tommy. The whole time you're in tutoring.
Right, exactly. Exactly, at a young age.
Yeah, that's pretty dope though. But obviously she empowered you, not just in that, but because you were being empowered in that moment there, but with her suggestion of, hey, bring the party here. Yeah, y'all want to be at a party? Let's have the party here.
Yeah, and that's what it was because again, the neighborhood was getting kind of rough back then, and she wanted to make sure she kept eyes on not just us but some of our friends too. So
I love that.
She made sure
it takes a village.
Yeah, exactly. That we stayed in and we had a good time. We partied, and when it was time to go home, we made sure everybody got home safe and sound.
Now, this wasn't just a one-shot deal. This wasn't just a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound and my kids are about to be out up the street next week or next month. You all started having monthly parties. Is that correct?
Yeah, we started having monthly parties. She was cool with it. She's like, okay, y'all can have the monthly parties and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she was pretty, she was okay with it. My mom, again, she was stern. She was fair. Mm-hmm. Didn't have no incidents, which was good because, again, my mom ain't play that.
Right.
So yeah, we started having monthly parties and stuff. And then actually, I think that's when I want to back up on the go-go thing. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later because we didn't really have go-go back then. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you how I was introduced to that too. But we started doing monthly parties and stuff. And that's where it really kicked off to me starting to think, dang, I can really do this thing.
So that's what I want to know. If you went back and talked to 12-year-old Butchie on the morning of that party, right? Uh-huh. What would you say to him?
Charge everybody 50 cents to $1 to get up in there. Shoot. Make some money. I was thinking about fun. I wasn't thinking about the money problem. I'm like, shoot, if I had to charge 50 cents to $1, I'm the bad boy right now.
How about that? And you'd have set a precedent. So next month, you'd have got $1 to $2, exactly. Inflation. Mm-hmm. So we touched a little bit. I heard you're about to jump in there a little bit. So tell me who introduced you to go-go, and if you recall, what band was it, where was it, all that good stuff.
So it had to be around 1979 or 78. My dad took me to a block party around the corner from my house. I think it was Rosedale. I think it was 20 from Rosedale. I'm not sure. It was by this store. I think it was Sarge. I think that was the name of the store. And it was a lot of people out there. It was food and it was people just having a good time. But then I heard this sound. I'm like, what is that sound? I'm so short. I can't see. So I'm trying to jump up to see. And finally my dad, put me on his shoulder. And I was at awe that this band was just kabakoo, kabakoo, and the guy playing the guitar and the guy playing the keyboard. I mean, I was like, wow, that's a good sound. Dope. I don't know who the band was to this day, but then...
Are you serious? That's so cool.
But that's what really got me into go-go. My dad, he took me to my first go-go.
That's dope.
And then later on, I started to be around a lot of cats that was involved in music.
So when you think about it, both of your parents really had an integral part in your little seed droppings there, your future.
Believe it or not, my dad... I guess I could talk about it now because that was some years ago. My dad ran numbers, and
I think you can freely talk about that at this point.
He ran numbers back then. He's deceased now, rest in peace, Big Butch. He ran numbers, and he did a lot of card playing in the basement. So that's kind of like where I started to learn how to get my hustle and my grind on. So
there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. So that was his thing, and then he worked up at Howard University Hospital, and right across the street they used to gamble a lot over there. Not knowing that my father ran the gambling thing.
Right.
My mom would drop me off over there, and I'd be staying over there with him in the car, sleep, or eating a little sandwich or something. Whole time he over there gambling, making money.
That is too funny. He was at work too.
He was at work too, right? So.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that's how you started in go-go. How did you start going to go-go? So did you go with Alan? Who took you? Who was your crew?
It's funny. I started going to go-go's probably in my teens. I had to be like 12 or 13 years old. And it's funny, a true story, right? It was me, my brother Alan, a guy by the name of Tali Watson. We was at the Atlas on 8th Street. And I think we went to see, it must have been either Air Raid, Keystone, Petworth Band. And all of a sudden, we in the go-go. Now, they're a little older than me, Tali and Alan. They're a little older than me. And all of a sudden, we hit the DJ on the microphone. Butchie, Alan, Tali, your mother's at the front door. Bring your butt to the front. You know how embarrassing so that was my first, true, hey, that was we oh, shit.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was the first true experience of going to a go-go. But fast forward, I actually
that was good.
that's what really got us into involved in starting a go-go band.
Mm-hmm.
So believe it or not, my first go-go band was with a band called Sound Production.
Sound Production.
Yeah, and this is probably like the mid '80s. Myself, Grady, Talib, Rob, Tyrone, Nova. We got a band together, and that's when I really started getting involved with go-go. And I played the keyboard, believe it or not.
Okay.
And that was my thing. So that's when I really started to really love and embrace go-go. I was going to the go-go, but then we started our own band.
Now pause for a second. What made you play the keyboard, or was that the instrument that was chosen for you?
So
how did that work?
You know what's funny? My aunt Teeny, she lived in Southeast, 306 Raleigh Street Southeast, and she kept this old piano in her living room, right? Me not knowing that it was a guy that would come in there and he would practice on her piano. Not knowing that this guy was Reds and the Boys from the band Reds and the Boys, right? So he used to come there and use my aunt's keyboard to practice, and he would show me some stuff. Watching him, it was like, oh man, okay, this is pretty cool. So that's what really got me involved and started, playing the keyboard.
That is dope.
Yeah, and then there was another band before us that was around the corner. This is the older group, Otis and what's my man there? I can't remember the dude's name. They had a band before us, and the guy, I think his name was Gary. He played the keyboard too. So he actually played this. They called them synthesizers back then. So
I remember synthesizers,
right? So I was playing the piano and the synthesizer, and that's just basically how I really started to, play the keyboard.
That's really cool.
So
I asked that because so many people, how it was back in the day. Like, we need somebody to play this. Okay, well, he's playing this. So, and people just learned how to play instruments or took parts and just their talents grew.
I didn't even know who the guy Reds. I think that was his name, Reds from Reds and the Boy. Yeah,
That's really cool.
He used to come to my aunt's house and play the piano and stuff. So yeah.
And I find it really funny too that you said, like for your first go-go, or your first go-go experience at all, not just your mom coming to get you, but like your dad taking you over and you're like at a block party and you look over and like, oh wait, who is that? Because I was talking to Super Dan actually like a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how go-go, how people get introduced to go-go, or like, are you really into go-go? And I was like, well, in my life, like growing up in this area, I don't know how you could grow up and not be in go-go. Like it just was part of the area.
It was
like
part of the area, yeah. And it was evolving not just in Northeast, but in Southeast, uptown,
and then it spilled right on over, immediately.
Yeah, and you had bands from different areas coming out back then. I mean, during my time, I would listen to bands like School and the Boys, Peacemakers, Air Raid, Petworth. They had a band called Northeast Connection. It was really good back then. And of course, you had the the usuals, the JY,
right,
Trouble Funk,
right.
EU. True story about Trouble Funk too. My band, we didn't really take it serious. We was just a hobby for us. But my aunt Tatey, her name was Tatey, rest in peace, Tatey. She actually took us under her wing and started managing us.
Oh wow!
So next thing you know, we was really organized to the point that we were playing at different venues. Like we played at Assumption, there was the school. We played at St. Benedict de Moore. We actually played at the Panorama Room Whip Junkyard.
Oh wow!
Yeah, this is back in the day. So nobody really didn't know who we were.
Right, but
true story though. We were one of the first go-go bands, Sound Production, that played behind the wall. And if you don't know what behind the wall is, that's Lorton. Northern Virginia. We played in a jail.
Yeah.
So I'm tripping because we, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids playing at a jail. We played at Aquan, we played at Lorton.
Oh my goodness.
And then but it was a cool experience. We didn't know. We just was happy to be playing. But on the flip side, what the hell are these kids doing playing at a jail?
It could have been like an example of a scared straight situation without too scared. Just a little like, hey.
Yeah. But here's a funny story. And my man Grady always go back to this. We actually there was a field day at Lorton. They used to have a field day when kids and the parents come together and chill with the inmates and stuff outside.
Right.
And our band actually performed, and we actually opened up for Trouble Funk.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we opened.
Y'all were kind of doing some big things.
That's the crazy. I didn't realize. We didn't realize how this thing was moving, how big it could have gotten.
Right.
But had we stayed together, who knows? We probably could have been a force to be reckoned with. But,
how about that?
But back then, the streets took over. Some cats went that way, some cats went that way, and then of course we broke up.
Yeah. I think that's crazy too. I think people, especially outside of the area, don't realize quite how many bands sprung up over all these decades. Even now, I mean, even now, every day there's somebody new starting a band or something, you know what I mean? But it's about that true dedication and consistency that's going to determine whether you're, you know, going to be somebody who stays for the longevity of things or somebody who's just here for a little bloop real quick, you know? But I mean, even though your stay on the keyboard might have been for a bloop, but your stay in the entertainment industry by far has not been. So from go-go, okay, from those experiences, rather, how did the bug for entertainment grow in you?
So the bug for entertainment grew for me probably around 1986, 87. I was going to Dunbar High School, and it was prom season.
Right.
And everybody was like, what are we going to do after prom? What are we going to do after prom? So I was like, well, hell, let's just take a bus and just, you know, go to King's Dominion. So that's when it really started off. So I got a bus, went to King's Dominion, and then that's when it really, really started to take off for me. And I was like, I can make some money doing this.
Right.
So, and then later on, it spilled from me doing stuff at Dunbar. I left Dunbar, of course, graduated in 88, and then I went to Norfolk State. And that whole idea about running the bus was like, okay, how can I capitalize off of this down in Norfolk State?
Now, how did you get down to Norfolk State and then link up with the SGA president and say, I throw parties and be believable enough that you all ended up with a budget of over $100,000? Explain.
All right, so first I got to back up. So the reason I even went to Norfolk State was my cousin, Kim Elder Short.
Okay.
She's the one that really inspired me to go to
Shout out to cousin Kim.
Yeah, she inspired me to go to college. But as I was down in Norfolk State, back then, you know, this was like 88, 89. So, you know, communication and technology wasn't that advanced. And I think there was an issue of, you know, during the breaks, like when the spring break or Christmas break, you couldn't stay on campus. Okay. So kids had to get rides home. Like, you know, they either parents had to come get them or they had to catch the Greyhound. They had an Uber Lyft back then. So a light bulb went off in my head. I said, well, damn, what if I can charter some buses to get these kids home? So that's what took off with the whole bus thing. So believe it or not, my second year, I chartered buses going home for the holidays.
Wait, so as a sophomore?
As a sophomore, yeah. I don't want to say sophomore.
That means you were about. That means you were about 20.
Nah. Because I was on that 8th semester freshman program. I wasn't really that. You know, I wasn't that. You know. So I would say my second year as freshman.
Yes. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel
so
you
I was
there.
like, damn. Let me capitalize off of this. So I started doing bus trips going home. I took trips to buses going to DC, of course.
Right.
Philly.
Okay.
New Jersey. Was that Port Authority in New Jersey?
Yeah.
And then we went to New York and we stayed with the Grand Central. I think that's Grand Central.
Yeah.
So I started chartering buses.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't realize how this thing was going to take off. It took off to the point that I had to hire more and more buses to come and, you know, take these kids home. And parents was loving me like, wow, you know, hey, we ain't got to drive all the way down there from New York to go pick up our child. You got buses going. So that's where that entrepreneur spirit started coming in. And I'm like, okay, I can do this, you know, make some money.
Right.
And that's what happened. And then finally, I think after a couple of years of doing that, I stopped. And then there was a go-go. There was a band by the name of the Bad Boys down there. And they were looking for a manager. Shout out to
in Norfolk.
In Norfolk, yeah.
Okay.
There was a bunch of guys from DC that played in the marching band in Norfolk State.
Okay.
They had a go-go band, and they asked me to manage their band. So that's when I got my first taste of actually managing a band, the Bad Boys. And we played at a bunch of nightclubs. We even opened up for Red Essence down there, believe it or not.
Okay.
And that's when I got my whiff of go-go again and managed again. And then that's when the SGA, the guy, David Alford, was running for SGA, and he was like, hey, I need to get this guy on board. He knows a lot of people. He's in the know. And I actually helped him with his campaign, and he actually became the SGA president.
That's cool.
And and what he did is the trade-off. He's like, well, look, man, I want to make you the activity coordinator for my team. And lo and behold, I did. The rest was history. So
now I know that through doing all of that and your evolution and everything, I know it sounds easy, right? It sounds easy, right? You guys like, oh yeah, so I did this and then I got chartered these buses and then I went there, you know what I mean? But I know you ran into barriers, because we run into barriers no matter what we do, right? Mm-hmm. And the show is all about, you know, a little further insight, you know, not just how you did it or why you did it, but how'd you keep pressing forward, and what are some of the barriers that stand out for you along that journey, and how did you get through them?
Because I mean, I'm a kid, you know, a lot of, you know, adults wouldn't take me serious, but mm-hmm. I had the experience and I had the backing of certain family members, right? Certain people that I know was already doing this type of stuff. Like, for example, my aunt Teeny and her friend Larry and Bob, they used to charter buses going to Atlantic City to gamble. Mm-hmm. So I already know, hey, if I get with these individuals, they can cut all that red tape out for me. So just, I knew who to talk to, knew how to get the buses because I watched them do it. Right. So even though I knew it was going to be a barrier, I already knew who to talk to get through that barrier and to break that, you know, that door open for me and kick some doors down. Only issue I had when I did do the buses in Norfolk State, they wouldn't allow us to bring the buses on campus. So we had, because of security reasons and everything. So we had to put the buses across the street. But the kids and the adults didn't mind. So,
yeah, that's not a big snafu, I guess.
So yeah, I had some help along the way. You know, shout out to Larry, shout out to Bob. They really taught me the game about running the buses and stuff because I watched them grow up.
Definitely shout out to Larry and Bob, because you know what? We need more people that aren't gatekeeping, more people that realize that each one really does need to teach one. And the only way that we're going to evolve and continue to progress as a people is if we reach up, reach down, reach back, reach to the side, and pull some people with us. Hey, Leisha's in the chat. But so with regard to going into management, with that being your first time, you know, entering into management, did you feel any type of fear or hesitation there, or were you just like, I got this?
Well, you know, I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. I'll be honest with you. I mean, they was like, hey, we want you to manage us. And I'm like, what the hell does a manager do? I had no idea. Right. But then I realized it was about, you know, making sure guys come to the show on time, rehearsing on time. But we used to rehearse in a little classroom on campus. I don't know how we got some of the shows, but making sure that they came on time to the shows, talking with the club owners. So that's basically kind of like an on-the-job experience, on-the-job training. That's how I really understood and started getting the whole thrust of being a manager of a band, what that was. So.
It's really important that people understand that. Like, seriously, like how important believing in yourself is in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. Like we all talk about, especially nowadays, we talk about manifesting and everything, but people don't believe so much. There's a quote on my page about Diana Ross just said recently, you know, anytime her brain thinks of something positive, automatically your brain creates a negative thought too, right? So you're like, I'm going to do great. And your brain's like, no, you're not. You know what I'm saying? But whatever you feed is what actually grows. So which way you're going to go with it, you know? So when they asked you that, you thought in the back of your head, you don't know what you're talking about. Right, but in the front of your head, you said, they don't know you don't know what you're talking about. Right. And you have an idea.
And I always, even with life, I always looked at the glasses half full.
I love that.
I never looked at the glasses half empty. So, and I think that's what really kind of like motivated me and say, look, I know I can do this. I got this. I've done it before. You know, like you said, they didn't know. Yeah. They asked me, so guess what? I'm going to do what I got to do.
Right.
So, And even with working with David Alford and, you know, as the SGA activity director and coordinator, that was a great experience because I didn't know nothing about that. I mean, at all. Like, what does that mean? What does that entail? But again, we had some good guidance. We had some good people that was, you know, telling us and showing us what we needed to do. So when we got that budget of $135,000 and they said, hey, look, we need you guys to do this, 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 and this, I was like, okay, let's do it. So one of the first events we did was like this thing called the Bazaar. Okay. And it's funny, the Bazaar is actually, you get vendors and stuff to get together and they sell stuff. So that's what they called it on campus. And they still do that to this day. People have these big old pop-ups and stuff now. So back then we called them the Bazaars. So we did that. And then one of the first big concerts, this is when I really started getting into entertainment. One of the first concerts that we did was for Homecoming. Okay. We had a big old concert at Joe Eccles Hall. That's the gym down in Norfolk State. And we had Vesta, Vertical Hold, and Loose Ends. Yeah, those were some back in the day.
Those some heavy hitters right there.
Right. So, and we had a young lady, her name was Patrice. I think that name was Patrice. Pat had these long old nails that wrap around. But
wow.
this lady knew her stuff when it came to entertainment. So I basically shadowed her. Like I watched her, I shadowed her. I went to meetings with her. I started understanding what writers was. I'm like, what the hell is a writer? Contracts, lighting. So I shadowed her, and I learned a lot from her because I didn't know nothing about this stuff. But watching her putting this production together, I was like, I want to do this.
I think that says a lot too. I think that's a whole nother lesson to be learned. To don't be too big to see what somebody else has in them and go ahead and follow that person, shadow them, and obtain what you can pull from that resource.
I was like, wow, how does she know this stuff? Like, where did she get the experience and the knowledge? But she was like open enough to allow us to even work with her, and I was like, cool. And then the second show, believe it or not, we did it on our own because she had another show she had to do. So myself, David, Alfred, Linda Gray, shout out to Linda Gray, Chanel, shout out to Chanel. We had a team and we was like, look, we're going to put another event together. So our second event, Ed Joe's Echo Hall, was, believe it or not, KRS-One, DJ Cool,
oh wow,
the reggae cat Mad Lion, and of course Red Essence.
Oh, wow.
That was the first time. And White Boy, he didn't know me back then. But I remember telling him that story. That was the first time I actually worked with Red Essence in a big band. And you talking about this was like in the 90s.
Yeah, that's no joke.
I mean, that show was off the chain.
Yeah, that's no joke for real.
And
that first one wasn't no slight show either.
That one was that. Best of Vertical Holding Loose Ends.
Yeah.
We did the damn thing. So
wow.
So that's what really, really got me excited about doing events and really getting to the promotion thing.
But even with that, you were in school still during that time, right?
Oh, yeah.
So once you came to graduation, what was your degree in? Let's start there. What were you studying while you were doing all this? I went to school
for business management.
Okay, I think that was the general studies of the 90s, right?
But it's funny. I always had the entrepreneurship spirit. And it's funny because in college, and people can contest to this, college don't really prepare you for life.
You better say that.
It really don't really prepare you for the failure of a job. Because I'm thinking, hey, when I graduate, I'm supposed to have a job. Nah, it don't work like that.
I think college doesn't prepare you for life in the work.
There you go.
But college prepares you for life. I want to say that.
It prepared me for life because I believe in that.
The real life.
My second year, I stayed on campus in my first year, but then I stayed off campus in my second year. So it prepared me for life, but it didn't prepare me for the workforce. I'm thinking, hey, I'm supposed to have a job soon as I graduate.
As soon as I step off campus, especially if I did good, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's not the case. I have more than 2 decades of HR experience, and that's not how we hire.
And it's funny because one of the things I wanted to do when I was in school, is a professor named Dr. Sawyer, right? And he taught, what did Dr. Sawyer? I think was it Business 101 Advanced? I can't remember what he taught. But he had everybody write a paper on what you did during the summer. Okay. So everybody wrote, hey, they had fun. They went on this vacation. They did that. My paper was, I worked a fireworks stand.
Okay, I mean, it's entrepreneurial though. It is business management too.
So here's the funny thing: in the paper, I put, I worked the fireworks stand. We did this, and I made close to like $10,000. So at the end of the class, he's like, "Hey, Mr. Farrell, can I talk to you for a second?" I said, "Sure, Dr. Sawyer, what's up?" He said, "Man, you worked the fireworks stand for the summer and made $10,000." I said, "Yeah." He said, "For the whole month?" I said, "No, for a week." He was like, "Time out." He was like, "Slim, how the hell did you make $10,000 in 1 week on doing a fireworks stand?" So I told him. So him and I actually got together, and then we incorporate something called the Entrepreneurship Innovation Program in Norfolk State. So now there's a course that teaches kids about entrepreneurship innovation, all because of the conversation him and I had.
That is so wow.
No, right? So that was crazy.
But that's an accomplishment. There's a lot to be said for that.
I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't get credit for it,
but I mean, still, you know what happened, and you know what. That's amazing, though. That really is. That's dope.
I forgot about the fireworks.
Oh my goodness!
We had some fun times at the fireworks.
But so, what do you say to people out there who want to get into entrepreneurship, but they still receive? See, it's crazy to me. I want people to really note how much it means for somebody to be able to become an entrepreneur during the 80s, the 90s, growing up in the DMV area, we were very much so yeah, you better have a plan B type of area. You couldn't go to school and study music management or entertainment management during that time. Business management was as close as you could get to what you were trying to do and have it be socially acceptable. So what advice do you have to those people who still have the, oh, you want to be a content creator or you want to be a whatever type of business person, you better go to this place and get a job and get a check every 2 weeks?
Well, you got to have a passion for what you're doing. And I tell people all the time, if you love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. So you got to be passionate about what you're doing, and you can't really listen to the naysayers. I mean, you're going to have a lot of people telling you what you can't do. Right. But guess what? Did they ever do it? Did they ever step out on a leap of faith? Then no, you don't listen to them. I tell people all the time, if you want to be a millionaire, go talk to one.
How about that?
You want to be a billionaire, go talk to one. You'll be surprised how people love to talk about their business and what they do and what they've done. Yeah. Just having a one-on-one conversation. So I tell people just, continue with your passion. If you're passionate about something, keep doing it. Now, here's the thing, though. It ain't going to be easy. It ain't going to be easy. Like you say, you're going to roadblocks, red tape. With technology now, you're privy to a lot of things that you can, get to. Back then, we didn't have technology. We had to go to the damn library to do our research. But now, you got a lot of stuff right there for you, and you can, basically go online and look up some stuff, and you can probably start some things. But yeah, just be passionate about it. Be motivated about it, and you're going to have some rough days. Yeah. But don't get down on yourself. Keep your spirit up and just keep lifting yourself and keep motivating yourself. Motivation is a great teacher. So you definitely want to keep pushing. So that's what I would tell people, strive for greatness. I mean, look at what you want to do, what you want to be. I don't care if it's a nail shop person or if you're a barber or if you want to drive cars, just do your best at that. Yeah. So, hey, that's what I would say as far as being an entrepreneur.
So, Butchie, give us a little bit of insight. I want to know, what was the biggest no you ever received?
The biggest no I ever received. That's a great question.
And it doesn't have to be in business. Just the biggest no you ever received.
The biggest no I ever received is probably when I was trying to do a hotel party. And I did hotel parties when I used to work. When I came home from DC, came home from Norfolk, and I started working at Zanzibar Sky Club, and then Zanzibar shut down. Love Zanzibar. And then we got into the hotel parties. Myself, Damon Scott, Steve Mathis, Knuckles, back then Hercules from PGC, my buddy, best friend James Boo. We started doing hotel parties, and I think we got turned down at a lot of hotels. I mean, I don't know what that was about. I guess they was like they didn't want that type of events there, so it was kind of heartbreaking. So I don't want to name the hotel per se, but it was like a big fuck Yeah. It was like, y'all, we don't want y'all kind here. Right. So, it was like, okay, it is what it is. But then, through the grace of God, we did start working with different hotels in the area. And one of the hotels that I really loved working with was the Hyatt in Crystal City. So,
okay, that's probably
one of the biggest. I don't want to give no names. With that hotel,
yeah. But, it got under your skin a little bit. Kinda, was it the no, or was it the manner in which the no was delivered?
It was more of the manner of the no in which it was delivered. And
so it was there was more behind. It was a heavy weighted no.
Yeah, yeah. So
I feel you on that. Yeah, those are often hard to receive, especially because it's not like you can say all that you're deciphering or hearing from the no. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, Alicia said, the kids of this generation are into the roadblocks. They are into the roadblocks. Some of them are the roadblocks, Alicia. And let's see, Daniel said, always strive for greatness. That's true. I mean, I think that's the most important thing that we can do. No matter, like you said, no matter what you're doing, whether you're driving or you're doing nails or lashes.
Be the best at it. Be the best you can be.
Yeah, literally.
And who knows? I mean, that cutting hair in your basement may lead to a full-time, open up your own barbershop or something. Right. Steve Harvey was, it's funny, I like listening to Steve Harvey because he really dropped some nuggets too. He was telling the audience about a friend of his that just was always cutting grass. Always cutting grass. Never wanted to hang out with nobody, never wanted to play. Next, this dude owns a multi-million-dollar grass cutting business. That's all he do is cut grass.
And one thing we always gonna need is our grass cut, like it or not.
He saw a need and he filled that need. So that's another thing too. If you find a need, fill that need. Fill that void. inventions and ideas get created every day.
Yes.
So don't ever think your idea, your invention has already been created. Guess what?
Right.
Do it.
Right.
I had a cousin, Nicola, true story. She called me about 4 years ago. She said, Butchie, I got an idea. I said, what's the idea? She said, you know how when you in your car, you sit in your car and your change fall out of your pocket and your comb or your cell phone fall out? Well, I'm going to create this little slipping thing that you put right between there. And guess what? When it fall out, or your change fall out, you can pick it up and it's right there. At first, I was like,
that's a good idea.
I was like, I don't know about that. But then I was like, wait a minute. I said, that is a good idea.
I was about to say.
Fast forward 4 years later, guess what? I saw that daggone thing on one of them damn TV shows. I'm like, oh my God. And I said, I wonder if that's my cousin Nick. Right. Idea. I haven't talked to her about it.
Seriously, though, that's a great idea.
It's a great idea. So never, ever, and then be careful about who you share your ideas with, too. I didn't want to tell her I would never did nothing like that. But guess what?
Say that. Okay, so I just posted. I was talking to a young lady. I was at the Mr. DC crowning. Shout out to Mr. DC and the Mr. DC pageant. It was last week at Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Library, and I was talking to this young lady, and I always ask people why existing is not enough for them, and she was talking about how when you have a dream, it's you have to pursue it, and you just have to go after your dream no matter what it was. And my thing about dreams is the second you have it, okay, you have a dream, right? You're asleep. You have a dream. Nobody can see that but you, right?
Yeah.
But did God give it to you by accident? No. Nothing happens by accident. But the second you open your mouth and go to share it with somebody, you have to be prepared because that person just might be ready to douse your dream, not necessarily with water or like on a fire. They're not trying to put it out, but they might hit you with a douse of reality. And dreams are not reality yet. So they can't give you reality for your dream. You know what I'm saying? Like it's yours for a reason. You're supposed to bring it to fruition, So even in those instances where you got your no and your no hit you because of the way it was delivered, you could have very easily, I'm sure there was somebody around you that was like, maybe you should try something different. Maybe you should do it a different way.
I don't know. I surrounded myself with a lot of positive cats, man. We would, brainstorm off and bounce off each other's ideas. So I think as I got older and I started getting more involved in promotions and concerts, I kind of surrounded myself with some people that I knew, hey, we all coming to the table with one same common goal, and that's to do this and do that. So I kind of basically, guys like, again, let me back up for a second. It was people like the Travis and the Moniques and Malachi. We started the Right Way production team because we knew there was a need to do concerts in DC.
Right.
There was the people like the D. Scotts and the Steve Mathis that say, hey, man, we need to fill a void because Zanzibar's now gone. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
It was people like now the Thaddeus Greens and the Dan Alexanders and the TJs and the James Wrens to say, look, we need to look at some festivals, not just inside the Beltway, but outside the Beltway. People like my friend Sergey, who we found a need to do homecomings for, Norfolk State, because guess what? Back then, colleges wouldn't really cater to alumni. So we found a need, we filled it. And that was 10, 15 years ago. And guess what? Every year we still do homecoming shows.
Now, real quick, before you go further on that, let's talk about the importance of who you surround yourself with. So you spoke quickly on that, but that hasn't been your circle all along. You've had a lot of different circles, but it sounds like you've surrounded yourself with pretty good people or pretty good quality stock. And not saying anybody is a bad quality stock, just that everybody might not be in lines with what you're in lines with,
So for me, I watched a lot of people in entertainment from, I don't care if it was doing a party to doing a show or whatever. And two people that really, they probably can't even tell you this, that really motivated me and influenced me was Kurt Bone. Kurt Bone really influenced me to say, hey, man, I want to do some parties like he's doing, because they used to say, ain't no party like a Kurt Bone party, because the Kurt Bone party don't stop. He inspired me. He influenced me. He don't know that, but he was the one cat that really showed people a good time when it came to a party. And this cat, now keep in mind, you're talking about maybe like the height of the drugs and the guns and the violence, that he can bring people from all walks of area from northeast to southeast come together to his event, and there's no drama.
Yeah, that says a lot.
That says a lot,
especially during that time.
Yeah. So I'm like, man, I want to be like him. And then of course, Stan Richards from Positive Black Men. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but the Wednesday shows before Thanksgiving, those were the places you wanted to be. And
yeah, I don't think I was old enough to get in.
Yeah, so back in the late 90s, late 2000, I'm saying mid 2000, there was a group called the Positive Black Men.
Okay,
and it consisted of 5 or 6 cats. I didn't know everybody. I knew Stan, I knew Steve, I knew Carl, I knew Chris. I didn't really know the other cats, but I knew them just from going to their parties.
Right.
These guys were some working class professional people, man, that first time I'm seeing brothers dressed up in suits and ties and going to a party looking good. And I'm like, man, I want to be like these cats.
Right.
So they were the first ones who really started that whole hotel party trendsetter thing too. And, imagine going to a party on a Wednesday. Like, who parties on Wednesday? But they had the city on lock.
Yeah.
Right. So Stan really influenced me, and I watch Stan, I follow Stan, and Stan don't really, it's funny, me and Stan are real good friends now, but Stan don't know, I actually met Stan at his wedding.
Oh, wow.
I was dating Stan's wife's sister.
Oh, wow, for real?
And she invited me to the wedding, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to Stan Richards' wedding. Oh, shit. So I get to talk to the brother. We get dab it up and everything. And then we've been cool in the gang ever since. And it's funny, Stan, he retired from doing, stuff from Positive Black Men. And then he started doing more foundation stuff, and he got into the network marketing. And then, of course, I did some network marketing too. I mean, I wasn't really good at it, to be honest with you. I done everything from Noni Juice to 5 Links. And people would be like, I would try to sell that shit. I mean, I would talk.
Yeah, that's not my forte.
And people be like, hey, Butchie, man, that shit sound good, but when your next party?
Right.
When your next bus trip?
I hate that, but I love that at the same time, because when you run into those roadblocks, it's like you have to hit it a couple of times before you're like, okay, so that's not my forte. So, that's too funny.
Yeah, it's too funny, I tell you.
So how did you segue into, Leisha said we need that back, the walks.
What walks? What's the walks?
I'm not sure. Leisha, what walks? But so with regard to you transitioning, into your career and into festivals and everything, right? From parties into festivals and larger events and everything. Because I know a lot of people don't know that you do festivals and things like that. People don't know about your work with Wolf Trap and all that stuff. So give us a little more insight to that part of Butchie and how you got into that portion of party planning.
It's funny. I think I got into concerts and festivals. It's funny. I was working down at this is when Zanzibar shut down, and again, there still was a void, still was a need. I started doing these things called the office party down at Ibiza nightclub. Okay. And me, myself, my man Black Dirk, Fats, Cuz Love, and what's my man name? I got his name. Theus.
You have a good memory.
Yeah, so Theus. So, and then Janad. So we all started this thing called Office Party on Wednesday nights at Ibiza. And it's funny because Ibiza didn't allow go-go. Okay. And they was like, man, we don't want no go-go here.
And how did you battle that?
Well, I told them, I said, well, listen, I'll tell you what. Give us an off night that y'all guys are closed. I said, give us an off night. And I said, I guarantee you we'll get some people here. They laughed. Of course, these some only guys Italian or whatever. They laugh in our face. They said, man, all right, we're going to let them do it. So they was like, all right, we got a $5,000 bar guarantee, right? On a Wednesday night, right? That night, I think the bar cleared 15,000. That opened up the door to have more go-go's.
I'm sure the conversations were a lot easier after that.
Yeah, and then it was some issues that went on with some of the bands, and I kind of parted ways. I said I don't want to do this no more. And then Zeta introduced me to a guy named Travis, and Travis was actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was doing some stuff in Virginia. Okay. And he was like, hey, man, I got an opportunity for us to do some shows. I said, okay, cool. I'll hear you out. So I sat down, him and I talked, and then there was a young lady by the name of Monique. And I met Monique through another friend of mine's. And she said, hey, Butchie, I got a friend named Monique I think you should talk to. She's doing the same thing you're doing and trying to get into the same thing you're doing, which is concerts. So we all met, we got together, and then, we formed this group called Right Way Production.
Okay.
And then we brought on Malachi. You know Malachi. Everybody know Malachi.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had I can't remember the other guy's name. And then we got together and we started doing concerts. And believe it or not, my first big concert with them cats was the Isley Brothers.
Oh, wow.
We did the Isley Brothers.
That's nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah, yeah. And it was funny because we were trying to figure out, we used to have our meetings over at Gaylord, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we all sitting there trying to figure out, who the hell do we need to have to do our first concert?
Right.
And Trav was like, I got the right person. I was like, well, who? He was like, the Isley Brothers. And I'm like, wait a minute. Ain't he locked up? He was like, nah, Ron just came home.
Wow.
I was like, oh, shit. So I was like, you know what? That's what's up. So he's like, well, why don't we do the Isley Brothers, his ex-wife, Angela Winbush, and Subtle Thoughts. I was like, let's do it. Let's do it.
That sounds like a really good concert.
And the show, we called the show The War of the Roses.
Oh, wow.
The War of the Roses.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's funny. That was probably my first big concert that we did. But guess what?
What?
It was the first concert that was an epic flop.
No.
It flopped.
How? What happened?
I'm going to tell you how it flopped.
Oh, my goodness.
There was a group by the name of CD Enterprises.
Mm-hmm.
These were some big dogs, some heavy hitters.
Right.
Of course, I've heard of them because back then it used to be called G Street Express Tiger Flower. These were the cats that did, you know what I'm talking about, the Go-Go show at the Capitol Center. They did the Go-Go, the first Go-Go show, the big.
Oh, okay, that everybody still talks
right.
about. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. We didn't know that they was also doing these type of shows too. They got whiff of what we were doing because the show was at Constitution Hall. They got whiff of what we was doing, and guess what they decided to do? They put a show together to do the next day.
The next day?
And guess who these jokers had?
Who?
Who did they have? Just take a wild guess.
Who did they have?
Charlie fucking Wilson.
No.
Right, exactly. So now here's the crazy part, right?
That's not fair.
So I know it ain't fair, but that was the business, the nature of the game. Because they was like, who the hell are these young cats think they gonna get the eyes?
I'm sorry, would they karate kick y'all in the face with that one?
And the funny part about it, we took a hit. I mean, we took probably a $45,000, $50,000 hit. And I'm scratching my brain, racking my brain, I mean, because the show was nice. Don't get me wrong, it was successful.
Yeah,
but it wasn't profitable. That's
right.
a big.
That's a big.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. Understand that success doesn't always mean profit. Profit doesn't always mean success.
That's a word.
So it was successful, but it wasn't profitable. And the reason why, it was two things. They kicked us in the head with that damn Charlie Wilson show the next day.
Yes.
And for the life of me, I could not understand why we didn't sell this show out. But finally, a young lady said, well, Butchie, I'm going to tell you why your show didn't sell out.
Why?
Y'all had it on a Thursday night. People got to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
Your show didn't let out to 1 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
So that's when I first got a taste of reality. Now it was like, how do you strategically do things?
Exactly.
And because of that, though, but guess what? We built a relationship with CD Enterprise.
Okay.
So they was like, hey, you guys did your thing. Congratulations. Now let's come on over with the big dogs. Let us show y'all how to do it. So that's when I really started to understand. Shout out to Carol and Daryl. Yeah. So that's when I really started to learn more about the entertainment realm. So we joint ventured with them, partnered with them. We had an investor, they had an investor. And we started doing shows at Capital One Arena. We partnered up with them with Summer Spirit Festival because that was always their thing. And then we came on board. But then life be lifing. Yes. Our investor decided to go with them and do some other stuff. And then we kind of like folded the company. Okay. So that was that. But I learned a lot from CD Enterprise. I learned a lot from Travis. I mean, literally, I learned about really about contracts, budgeting, having your ducks in a row, writers, and I mean from start to finish, even as far as like taking care of the artists. That was very important. I didn't really understand. I actually when we did the Isley Brothers, my task was to make sure not Ron, I think it's his brother or his nephew, the guy that played the guitar. My task was to make sure he was okay. Okay. And I didn't realize that, if them writers, them stipulations, if that thing ain't
to the letter.
If they say, hey man, I need Fiji water, and that Fiji water,
and it's Deer Park,
what happened? Be like this, we ain't going on stage till we get our water. I was like, what? Are you serious? So Travis and Monique, they was really strategic in showing everybody, hey, make sure those riders are straight, make sure stuff is straight in the dressing room, sound check, all that. So that's when I really got my real experience, like hands-on doing that stuff.
So tell me, what would be the best advice that you would give to somebody who's out there right now, who's like, I want to be an Uncle Butchie when I grow up, or I want to be an Auntie Butchetta when I grow up, whichever they may be saying. What would you say to them? Well, how can they get started?
Well, back then I was a risk taker, so I took a lot of risks. So I would say be cautious on the shows that you want to do. Don't just do a show just to say I'm going to do it. Make sure that the show makes sense. Make sure that the individual or the artist that you got on that card makes sense.
Right.
Make sure that the venue, is conducive, because now people want, access to parking.
Right.
They want to be able to get to a good seat. The acoustics in the building has to be nice. So you got to want to take all that into consideration. So I would say do your homework, do your research, and if somebody that you know that's maybe doing this stuff, shadow them. Just to see how they did some things, and then I would do it that way. I would do it that way, because I took a lot of risk.
Yeah,
I took a lot of loss, but I made it. I made some money, so I'm not gonna say it a lot.
Right.
But I wouldn't take the risk that I took back then. So don't take those big risks, knowing that you're gonna be an epic fail. Just because you like an artist, don't mean that other person like an artist.
Right.
So you want to
do your research too.
Do your research and your homework. I mean, one of the things we had to do, we went to this thing called Polestar.
Okay.
So Polestar gives you these numbers. I'm dropping some nuggets if y'all want to know. Polestar is a thing you can look at to see where the artist is trending in certain cities. So if this artist is doing good in this city and they didn't do good in that city, then you can kind of gauge, okay, maybe I can bring him and maybe team him up with this person, whatever. And then also, I'm going to tell you another thing too. As you're getting bigger and you're growing with your business, you want to make sure that when you're ready to pull that trigger with these artists, pull that trigger and that deposit. Because we had some issues back then where we would, though we had an artist in play,
right,
talk to the manager, waited a few days, came back, and guess what? They said, hey, man, y'all took too long. We got another deal with somebody else.
We got something else, Because if they're really that hot, that means that they're in demand. And if they're in demand, trust, you're not the only one demanding them, right?
Yeah. So you got to be ready.
I think that's important.
What I say. Do your homework and your research first. When you make that call, make sure that this is what you really want to do.
And while you say be cautious, yes, be cautious, but don't be too cautious. Don't be too gun shy. So you end up sitting there just holding your dollar at the casino.
Right.
And they shutting down and sweeping the floors,
Exactly.
I mean, that's the absolute truth. Because, I mean, no matter what you do, there's going to be some risk, because no risk means no reward, right? And Leisha said, yes, Lord, and watch the people you work with, too. That's true. Oh, and research, because all artists don't make your money back. I'm sure you found that not just in, go-go, but in, entertainment all the way around. Just because, like you said just a second ago, just because you think somebody's hot doesn't mean the world thinks they're hot right now.
Exactly.
Because I'm just saying, there's some people I'd love to hear Vesta right now in concert. That does not mean that all my peers are going to sell her out, though. But so tell me, with regard to, I want to start my own. I want to become an event producer, right?
An event producer.
That's what I heard you are. I want to be an event producer,
what
right?
What the hell is an event producer?
That's what you are. I just told you. You should know better than me. I thought that's what you were. But so, what would be my first step? What's the first thing that I need to do? I want to throw a party. I want to have an event. What's the first thing I need to do, Butchie? What do I do? Where do I start?
See, I don't know, because you got a lot of party planners out here, and you got a lot of promoters out here. So you got to ask yourself, what is it you really want to do? Are you just doing it just to be doing it because you like that person, or you like that band, or you like that artist? You gotta be careful with that. So again, I would say do your homework. Do your homework and start up. Look, if you don't have a lot of money, don't jump out there and get no big old loan.
How about that?
Try to pay somebody off, and you don't know how you're gonna pay that person off if that show flops. So have your kitty aside. If you got some investors, some angel investors, believe it or not, there's a lot of angel investors out here that wouldn't mind investing in you.
Yes.
Have a business plan.
Yes.
And that's basically a business plan. So if you want to jump into this game, a lot of people just do it just to do it, but get a business plan together. Get with some people who've done this before. And again, like I say, people don't mind talking about what they've done. Certain people.
I mean, a good amount of people, though. I'd say a lot of people. First off, people love talking about themselves.
Yeah, they love talking about themselves.
Secondly, people love giving themselves accolades. So they love talking about their successes, especially if their failures are immediately tied to, but look how I turned it around. You know what I mean? Yeah. So definitely don't be scared to ask questions.
Yeah, and have a good team too. Again, some things I'm not good at doing. I might be weak at this. Somebody may be strong at that, and vice versa. So if you know you're weak as far as number crunching, then you get you an accountant. You get you somebody that can number crunch for you.
Right.
If you know you can't read worth a dime with them riders and them contracts, you get somebody that can read those contracts and you bring them on board of your team. And that's another thing too. And don't be afraid to admit some things you just can't do.
Yes. Know your strengths.
Know your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah. The only way you can know your weaknesses, your strengths for real, is to know your weaknesses, right?
That's true.
Yeah, if Superman was out here running around talking about what you mean kryptonite, he would be looking stupid in that first fight, right or wrong. Because we all saw when they broke out the kryptonite on him, right? And we saw how he looked like, what the, you know what I mean? You don't want to be out here looking like Superman.
Batman beat Superman ass with that
kryptonite. The hell out of Superman. He beat the hell out of Superman with that kryptonite, and you don't want to be Superman on that day, You want to be him a month later when he came back and Superman was like, kryptonite, I already knew you were going to come with that.
Now, one thing I do want to tell people is,
that's important.
Because this thing is really a business, I would definitely want to say you want to make sure you get your business stuff in order. Number one, I always tell people open up a business account. And Jeff from District Kings, I really listened to that dude, man. He dropped some nuggets the other day about putting everything in your business name.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, damn, Jeff, that was a great idea and a great suggestion. So I would tell people, make sure you open up a business account.
And keep your finances separate, yes.
Yeah. I learned that the hard way. I got audited probably about 10 years ago.
Everybody's scared of that. How'd that work?
It worked out. It worked out for the best because
Thank God.
It was like, Jesus, I didn't know what the hell this was about.
Ever since James Brown, we are all scared of the I, the R, and the S.
So you definitely want to, get a business account, get an LLC, get your Articles of Incorporation, make sure your business is in good standards. And again, this was just from some growing pains because I've been to the point where I didn't have a business account, didn't have an LLC. Business wasn't in good standards and stuff like that. So I had to, talk with people and understand, hey, you need to have this stuff together so you can even do some things. And a lot of companies nowadays won't even touch you if you don't even have your articles and stuff like that. And this is where this whole Wolf Trap thing came into play. I know we've talked about that. I want to touch on that now. So how the Wolf Trap
thing. Wait, real quick, before you go to Wolf Trap. Also, I wanted to make note real quick that Dan Alexander said, make sure you first off, be clear on your target market. I think that's an imperative statement. So I wanted to make sure we highlighted that. No wonder then. Okay. So you're very familiar. Yes. Be clear on your target market.
Danzel, he got
Okay, Danzel.
He keep the team humble and grounded on a lot of stuff.
Definitely. That was a good one. So everybody make note of that. And then the second thing he said is establish registered business. Just like what you just said. Make sure you have your articles in order. Make sure you have all your paperwork, your trademarking, your LLC, whether you're going to be an LLC, sole proprietorship, or if you're going for your nonprofit, just make sure you file your paperwork and keep your finances separate. Now, on to Wolf Trap.
So, wow, Wolf Trap.
Yes.
Let me tell you, there was a guy by the name of Big Tony from Trouble Funk.
Okay, shout out to Trouble Funk as a whole, especially Big Tony.
I started working with Tony and them probably about 8 or 9 years ago. We did this thing called Go-Go Meets Hip Hop over at the Hyatt.
And I love that.
First show was Trouble Funk EU. Correct me if I'm wrong, Danny. Houdini and Chubb Rock.
Wow.
Man, that joke was off the
That's
chain.
a show.
And me and Tony, ever since then, we just became the best of best friends. And Tony was always calling me, and I would always call him. And finally, we started doing some stuff together. And the first show I did with Tony was probably his birthday party at Blue Dolphin.
Oh, wow.
And he asked me what I'd like to be a part of. I'm like, man, hell yeah, sure.
Right.
And it's funny. Our relationship just took off. So I got a call probably about, this is probably year 3 now. Wow, it's been that long. I got a call from Tony, and he said, "Hey, look, man, I'm about to do a go-go show at Wolf Trap." I was like,
wow.
Wait a minute, Wolf Trap? I said, Wolf Trap don't do go-go's. Tony was like, well, they doing it for me, Butch. So he was like, look, they're looking for somebody to promote this thing. And your name came up. And I was like, my name came up? He's like, yeah. He said, would you like to do the show with us? I'm like, hell yeah. Dude, what kind of question is that? Right? Yeah. So, I mean, I was honored that he even asked me. So the first show was Trouble Funk, EU and Junkyard at Wolf Trap. Now, mind you, talking about going out here in Virginia and, Wolf Trap do all types of concerts.
Yeah.
I know. And this was their first time doing go-go out there, and it was very successful. It really was successful. And then the next year, Tony asked me to come back. And that year we had Belladonna, Black Alley, and Trouble Funk.
Oh, wow.
And that was a hot show, too. And then the crazy part, after that show, I got a call from Wolf Trap. And they was like, hey, Butch, how would you like to promote some of our other shows? Like, what other show? The Fantasias and the...
Yeah, you like what y'all talking about.
and that's how I started working with Wolf Trap, all because of Tony and Sugar Bear, too, because Sugar Bear, gave me some shout-outs, too. And that's how I started working with them. And I called Tony. I said, Tony, man, you ain't going to believe this, man, but Wolf Trap called me and asked me to promote some of the shows. He's like, man, congratulations, go for it.
Yeah.
And that took off, and I started doing promotion and marketing for them. And then Kennedy Center called. Yeah. And I was like, okay. They was like, hey,
we're not going to just skip past that.
Yeah,
who called again?
Kennedy Center.
Oh, the Kennedy Center.
The Kennedy Center.
The John F. Kennedy.
And they was like, hey, is this Butch Farrell from Distinguished Entertainment? I said, this is Butch Farrell. Hey, this is such from Kennedy Center. We got a call from Wolf Trap. Would you be interested in, promoting some of our shows we got here? Like, you serious? They like, yeah, dead ass. So, like that, let's do it. And it's funny. Basically, the crazy part about it wasn't. Now, here's the thing. I have to be careful to tell people it was not my show. I was just the promoter promoting the show. Now, there is some conversation for me to do an actual show at Wolf Trap. We're talking about that now as we speak.
But I want to take that just out real quick though, because it was real inappropriate that I was just the promoter for. I mean, I was just the promoter for my daughter's birthday party last year, but it was quite epic in those 15-year-old birthday parties at the house. Yeah. So, you're right. I mean, I feel like you're just promoting for Wolf Trap might be a little more.
Yeah, because when you think about it, they don't work with promoters.
Exactly, in the first place.
Right, they don't work, let's be clear.
And then they reached out to you. So it's not like you were doing... You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then they talked about you further. Yeah. Your name was in the room without you being in the room, exactly. Butchie. I'm just saying.
Look at God.
Yeah, thank you. Look at God. That's what I'm saying.
I was like, wow, Wolf Trap was calling me, Kennedy Center concert, all because of Tony. And, I appreciate that because he took a chance on me. And again, I didn't know where that came from. People was calling me, and I started taking the calls.
But in hindsight, you know where it came from.
Yeah, I know where it came from.
Where?
Came from God. I was on God. And I hired a team. I'm gonna tell you one of the coolest person I hired was Amanda. Everybody knows Amanda.
Everybody knows. Shout out to Amanda. Everybody knows Amanda.
I reached out to Amanda probably about 3 years ago. And it's a funny story about Amanda. I actually called Kirky first because Kirky, I think Amanda was working with Kirky at the time, married to the game. And I say, hey, Kirky, I got a opportunity to promote some shows at Wolf Trap, man. You know any people that do the street team? He's like, yeah, I got the perfect person for you. And he turned me on to Amanda. And me and Amanda, we didn't click when we first, got together. I'm trying to, tell her, how she should do her business and stuff, and she kind of took it the wrong way. And
Amanda don't play that.
Yeah, she don't play. But then she understood that I was trying to teach her that, I get it that you was doing stuff with the go-go stuff, but this is a different market, a different area. Yeah. So they're going to expect certain things. So at the time, she wasn't understanding that. But then I remember she called me one day, and then she said, I just want to thank you. I'm like, for what? She's like, you was trying to tell me, and you like, you was right. So I just wasn't listening because, again, a lot of the women in business, they have it hard because this is a male-dominant And she felt like I was probably stepping on her toes, trying to tell her how to run her business. When actually I was trying to show her.
She thought you were mansplaining her.
Right, and in essence, because she's experienced that with so many other guys, but with me, it was a teaching moment.
Yeah.
So she realized that, and then guess what? She started getting more and more businesses. And then she's like, Butch, I just want to thank you. And we bumped heads, and also we became the coolest, best of friends.
That's awesome.
And her ass is a Leo, and I'm a Leo too. So
that says something.
That says something
so
too.
Y'all just introduced to each other, yourselves to each other by roaring. That's all that really was.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then she started, her business took off, and she started expanding her network, and she wasn't just doing go-go no more. She was doing other shows, and I hope she don't get mad at me for saying that. And she started to learn like about contracts and stuff, and I started turning her on to some of the people. To us, but look, man, I'm not in the streets. My promotion is a little bit different. So she was the street team, I was the marketing, and we had to do radio, we had to do social media. I was kind of really good at that. So. And she took off. So shout out to Amanda.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Amanda. We'll have to sit down with her one day and hear her whole story from her perspective.
Amanda's funny.
Yeah, I mean, well, definitely. But so tell me what moment in your journey thus far did you look up and you were like, this is it. I'm doing it. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. Because you've dealt with so many artists in go-go and outside of go-go that are just huge names and have done some huge projects. You've been attached to a lot of really big projects. What was the moment, though, that stands out for you? Like, yeah, I did that.
I think it's when I did my first, and I got to go back to Norfolk State. When I did that, not the first concert, the second concert, and when we packed that arena, I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. So I think that was my moment right there, and I just kept it going from concerts to festivals to nightclubs, go-go's. That was my moment in Norfolk State.
I love that.
And then again, when I started to get with some of those guys and we started doing the hotel parties, and then, it's funny, I'm always trying to like be more innovative, more creative, and try to do something that's different and unique.
Right.
And I remember having a meeting with the cats. It was Bruce Odom, D. Scott, Knuckles, James Wren, and Butch from Goombay. And we were talking about doing an event. And I said, hey, y'all, we should do a costume masquerade party at Zanzibar. Everybody laughed at me. Ha ha, man. Everybody dressing up no damn costume, no masquerade. You got to be. I said, man, listen, man. People love to do that. That's their alter ego. So guess what? They're like, okay, man, we're going to do this. And if we fail, we all going to look at you. We did a costume masquerade ball at Zanzibar on a Saturday night in a thunderstorm. And we packed the shit out.
Are you serious?
Packed it out.
But you know why? Because you were right. People love a good masquerade.
And I'm gonna tell you right there, everybody know the reason why people do costume masquerade ball now is because of us.
Oh wow.
We started that trend, and this was some 10, 15 years ago. We started that, and to this day, anybody doing a costume masquerade party. And then the next year, I got with some other promoters. It was A Few Good Men. That shout out to Wayne and Jannard. Lafayette Esquire Production, Dan Alexander, Niamani Production, Mike Appropriate Entertainment. Was Mike a part? Yeah, Mike was a part of that. Appropriate Entertainment, Mike. At the time, Esquire was TJ and Lafayette. Now TJ has his own group called Chariot Entertainment, and James Wren JWC. We put one of the biggest Halloween costume masquerade parties together at the Hyatt.
Oh, wow.
We had, and this has never been done since then, we had 3 bands that probably never played together since. We had, at the time, it was Team Familiar.
Okay.
Team Familiar with Donnell Floyd, DC Vibe, they were Vibe back then, and Secret Society.
Okay.
We had roughly about 4,000 to 5,000 people at that event.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it got to the point it was so damn big, the fire marshal said, y'all cannot let nobody else in.
Wow.
And I got laughed at the table again. I was like, hey, y'all, let's do a costume, man. Man, Butchie, ain't nobody. I said, I'm telling you, they're going to dress up.
That's crazy.
And they came out in droves. Donnell Floyd, he dressed up as a scarecrow. I don't know if you ever seen it.
Yeah, no, I didn't see.
He was like, man, when y'all going to do the costume contest? I'm like, well, Donnell, you can't participate because you in the band. But he was a little mad about that. So we did a fashion show at Appropriate Mike. he told us let's do a fashion show. So we did a fashion show in there, and it was really really nice. That was
that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds so fun too.
Yeah, it was fun. So So anybody ever tell you, who started the costume masquerade? It was us.
So tell me, that brings me to what was the most fun event that you had that you've ever given? Yeah.
Damn, a lot of my events was fun. I can't really say the most fun because the costume parties were fun.
I meant for you.
Oh, for me.
That you were able to have fun at, and it was a fun event. So what was the most fun event from your perspective?
It would probably be the second. No, I'll take that back. It was two. It was a black party. We did an H2O. I don't know if you remember the club H2O.
One of your all black parties?
Yeah, that was the most fun party we did. It was right next. H2O was beside Zanzibar.
I remember H2O.
Yeah, and we did an all black party. That was the most fun I think we had. Because it wasn't a big venue, but we packed it out and everybody had a great time. And I can't remember the band. I know we had Heather Rose from Pure Soul, the group Pure Soul. She performed. I think we had First Impressions Band. That was a band I used to work with down in Zanzibar back in the day. I think they performed. And I think we had DJ, he's now deceased. What's my guy's name? God dang it. We had two or three DJs. And I had fun there. That was one of the most fun I had. And then I think the second most fun I had was when we did the old school hip hop with Junkyard, Let It Flow, Mr. Cheeks, and Big Daddy Kane.
Oh, wow.
That was some fun. And
that sounds fun.
Yeah, because Junkyard, oh my goodness, man.
Whose idea was that?
It was my idea.
That was dope.
It was my idea. And that was the first time working with Big Daddy Kane and Mr. Cheeks. And Mr. Cheeks is just the coolest dude, man.
I was about to say, what was that experience like?
He was cool. We took a picture and everything, and he cool dudes. I think that was the most fun I had at that event. So,
wow. That sounds like a good event there.
Yeah,
I'd like to go there still. Look, I still like to go to that in case you want.
It was funny. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they was like, man, you should bring that old school hip hop, the go-go meets hip hop thing back.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, it's funny, I didn't start that because they used to do go-go hip hop a long time ago. Ice Cube used to perform at what's the Triples nightclub with go-go bands.
Well, they had the Baby on the Front Porch series not too long ago.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't get to see it, but I heard it was good. Was it good? I mean, from your perspective?
I didn't see all of it, but I saw some of it. It's funny. We were supposed to be working with Nucci, me, myself, and WAP. We was It's funny. I saw Nucci probably about a year ago on Facebook, and I was like, man, I don't know. It was Facebook. It was somebody's page we was looking at, and I was like, man, I really would like to meet this cat. And God may be, I did meet him. Went to his house, talked to him and everything. We were supposed to do his birthday party, and me and WAP was going to stream it on the front porch. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and then lo and behold, he started, doing his thing, and that thing just took off like a rocket. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So I would have loved to have worked with Nucci on his birthday event. It just couldn't, I guess.
I'm sure it's still coming down the pike, though.
I don't know. I mean, his brother's taking off now, man. He's doing his thing. I give him mad props, mad respect, because that was a creative thing that he did. My thing, I want to just do his birthday,
right?
Stream it. I didn't think about all these artists, but
right.
We had talked about stuff like that. And then I actually, when I did the concert at Fort DuPont Park, I actually had Nucci perform.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was Nucci perform. I can't remember who performed on that show. We had did Fort DuPont Park. It was Nucci. I can't remember who else was on that show. Oh, I know it was. I think it was Vibe. No, they weren't on the same show. I gotta look at the flyer because we brought Nucci back. Because I told him I wanted him to do a show, and he did the show. Yeah, but that was, he's taking off that front porch thing. I gotta give a brother credit. I tell people, look, that was not my idea. My idea was just to do his birthday party and stream.
You're like, that's it.
We took a picture and everything. If you look on my Instagram page, you'll see me and Nucci on the front porch and everything. But he's a good dude.
Cool.
Yeah, his father, good dude too.
So tell me, who is the biggest name that you've worked with to date?
You know what's funny? The biggest name that I worked with, I really didn't work with.
Say more words.
Let me make it make sense.
Yeah, say more words.
So I used to, I'm a jack of all trades.
Yes, literally.
I used to drive. I'm always trying to find a way to make money. And I started driving for Uber back in like 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was working downtown at SEC, and then I would drive evenings with Uber. I'm trying to think who put me on the Uber. Somebody put me on the Uber, and back then, guys and girls was making $500 to $1,000 a day doing Uber.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, if I could do this for the weekend, that's 2, 3, 4. Okay, I got
right.
So I started driving for Uber. And then there was a guy in Virginia. Oh man, I hate that I don't remember my man's name. His name of his company is Echelon Entertainment.
Okay.
He called me and he said, "Hey Butch, man, I got a passenger, man. I would love for you to pick up, man, and drop off to the Birchmere."
Okay, love the Birchmere too.
Sure, no problem. I said, who's the person? He said, "Man, it's El DeBarge." Like El DeBarge, like D.L. DeBarge. He's like, yeah. He's like, man, can you pick him up for me?
Oh wow.
Like, yeah. I said, hell yeah, no problem. So
right.
I get my black. Back then I had a Cadillac STX, so I get in there. Of course, I'm suited and booted.
Right.
I pick him and his manager up, Peak Farmer. I pick him up from the airport. He didn't really say much to me and everything. I didn't even say much to him. And then I took them to the Birchmere, and then something happened. And then him and I started having conversation. And then after that, we just became good friends. So every time El DeBarge would come to town, he would call me to drive for him. But not only drive, we would hang out. I would do security for him. We go into the shows. And at that time, believe it or not, his backup band was Willie, Nate, and I call him 88 Keys. No, Willie got a band. What's the name of Willie band? Don't kill me, Willie. What is the name of his band? You know Willie just played with Still Familiar. The drummer, Willie.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know his band.
He gonna kill me. Willie, please don't kill me. So his band was a backup band for El DeBarge.
Oh, really?
Right. So anytime they came to town, anytime El came to town, they would back up El and perform with El. And then I started working with El on that note, helping him with the shows, helping him with his flights. Me and his secretary would get together and power out on some things. And I would just hang out with El for the whole time he here. And that's cool. The crazy thing. I didn't do a show with him, but I worked with him, you know?
Right, literally.
So that was
and everything except for what you do.
Exactly. So he would call me, "Hey, Bush, man, it's El, man. I'm flying into this town, man. Real cool. El, cool dude, man. Real cool dude." And he's like, "Man, I'm flying into town, man. Man, come pick me and Pete up, man. After that, we gonna go grab something to eat, man. We gonna go here, we gonna go there. And, man, just hang with us, man. Can you hang, man? You think your wife don't mind if you hang with us?" I'm like, "Hey, man, I ain't gotta ask my wife, man. Sure, you know."
Fronting.
No, I'm laughing because guess what? I was hanging with him one day, right? And got to the hotel, and I'm looking at my watch. He's like, "What's wrong, Butch?" I said, "Man, I forgot, man. My daughter's birthday party today, and I gotta hang out with them." He's like,
"What?"
He was like, "Man, that's some good stuff right there, Butch. Go on and hang with your family, man. We'll catch up with you later on." I said, "No, I'm beat it." He said, Nah. You hang with your family. You come back, you hang with us." I was like, I couldn't tell him no. So I told my folks, "Hey, babe, look. At the birthday party, I gotta go hang with El and Pete.
After the birthday party, I'm gonna go back and hang with El and them.
Cool. So that was some cool stuff right there, man. And
shout out to your wife for letting you go back after the birthday party.
Well, no, she's a big El DeBarge fan.
Did she go back?
Well, you know, it was funny. She met El because.
But did she go back after the birthday party?
Did she go back where?
Did she go back and hang out after the birthday party?
No, I went back and
That's what shout out to the wife for letting him go back after the birthday party. But see, it's funny
because she's a big El DeBarge fan. It was, you know, you got Michael Jackson, Prince, and
right, literally, yeah.
And I got her to get backstage to meet El. She was tall. She was just tickle pinky. I said, "Look at you, little too giggly."
That's the trifecta though, right there. Like,
El was he's a cool dude, man. I mean, I wish him well. I haven't talked to him in a minute. You know, I know he was going through some stuff out there in California, but I wish him well, man. I hope he's still doing this thing.
Speaking of which, I want to take a quick moment, right? And take a moment of silence to kind of send our positive energy and our thoughts and everything and our prayers to the people that are all in California, anybody that's affected by or who has family who's affected by the wildfires. I definitely, you know, we send our healing energy, we send our calm, we send our prayers, we send our comfort, and anything else that we possibly can in your direction. Just remember, no matter where you are, your situation could definitely be worse. And if you're not over there in California right now dealing with that type of anxiety, just be thankful for where you are right now and what's covering you and that you are protected. I pray that everybody there definitely comes out unscathed as much as possible. And any material things that are taken away, I want us all to remember that they are just that, material. Anything you lose, you can make it back 10 times over because it's in you, not on you, boo.
Preach.
I'm just saying. So, but with that being said,
round of applause. That's the name of Willie's band.
Round of applause. Shout out to Willie.
Yeah, my man just told me.
Round of applause is the band. So everybody make sure to check them out also. But so now back to you in regards to your evolution and your progression. So becoming a dad, how did that change you with regard to your career path? And what is your career goal ultimately? Have you reached it?
So I became a dad in 1997, believe it or not. I have twin boys. Me and mom, we cool. We were together. We were together, but then we weren't together.
Right.
Of course, with twins, that's double duty. So
yeah,
I had to kind of like, work a job.
Yeah.
I didn't really do a lot of promotion. And mind you, this is 97, probably right after I started doing maybe like the parties and stuff. But then as they got older, I was able to get back out and do some of the things that I like to do. But, during that time, I had to be a dad because one of my sons had a hernia.
Okay.
And we didn't know what was going on for the life of me. And he would just cry. And then finally we found out he had a hernia and had to, take him to the hospital. They had to have surgery.
Oh, goodness.
And then he also had asthma. So, we had to be real careful with him. And, so I, made sure he was good when it came to, his asthma and stuff. Because, literally he had to take, the treatment machine,
the nebulizer,
and all that. So I think as they got a little older, I was able to get back out and do the things I wanted to do as far as events. So I think I started, believe it or not, doing more outdoor events. Got with Goombay Adventures, started doing ski trips. Then that's when I got into Zanzibar. I think I started doing Zanzibar, I want to say 2006, 7. But even before Zanzibar, I was doing some nightclubs on 8th Street. I think the name of the club was called Ozios. No, not Ozios. No, it's called Oz, I think. And that's when I first started doing business with Junkyard, believe it or not. I used to have Junkyard every Thursday night up there. Onyx, that was the name of the club. Onyx on 8th Street. It's not
okay. I know what you're talking about, though. But so did having the boys change your business approach?
It motivated me to make money to care for them, because it was like, how the hell am I going to do this with twins?
Right.
So, I always kept a 9 to 5. Don't get it twisted. I've always kept a 9 to 5, but I also had my businesses and side hustles too. So I was able to, provide for them and do the things I needed to do for them. And they didn't need for anything. And then I had a support cast too, mom, aunts, cousins, nieces, nephews, uncles.
That says a lot.
Yeah, we had a great support cast. So if it was an event that I had to attend to, my sister would watch them. My uncle would watch them. I even had a neighbor one time that would watch them. But I think I did a show. I was living in Erie Street in Southeast. And I had to do a show that night. I'm like, shit, I got the kids. And my neighbor downstairs, Rhonda, she's like, well, look, I know you got an event. She said, you go ahead, I got the kids. I'm like, for real? I'm like, wow, I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
I was I just can't go to my own damn show. But I was able to go to my show thanks to Rhonda.
How many shows have you had that you've thrown that you have not been able to attend? Does that happen to you?
So, what's funny? I laugh now because back then I used to attend all my shows. But as I gotten older, I realized that people weren't coming to the show because to see me.
Right.
They were coming to the show because it's a good ass show.
Right.
So I had to learn how to separate myself as the person from the business.
Right.
And let people know, please understand, if you get a ticket for a show, you're not coming to see me. You're coming to see the damn show. As
it should be.
So it was some situations I didn't have to be there. You got a good team in place. You got a good infrastructure in place. I didn't have to be there. But then people would really get mad and say, "Man, you ain't at the party." Like, I don't need to be at the damn party. Y'all not coming to the show for me. Now parties was a little different. People definitely want to see the the guest of honor, but they want to make sure that
they want to see the person that they connected with to get the ticket.
So I had to say, okay, if it's a party, I know I got to be at a the party. But if it's at a concert, I don't need to be there.
Now, I agree with that. If it's a party and I buy a ticket from you, I probably do expect you to be at the party.
Yeah.
But if it's a concert, I mean, I'm not coming looking for you.
Right.
Yeah, you're
But people used to call me, where are you? I said, I'm sleeping.
Oh, you know what? I might, depending on what type of VIP access I think you have.
Well, see, now here's the thing. So Zanzibar, let me back up a second. So Zanzibar, you got to keep in mind, we did Zanzibar every Friday night.
Okay.
And there were times where we had to rotate because that shit was just time. I mean, imagine, I'm working at DOT from 9 to 5. I would literally leave DOT and go straight to Zanzibar. I'm not getting home at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And I used to tell Steve and Butch, I said, hey, y'all, I can't do this every day. So we would rotate. Steve would do some shifts, Butch would do some shifts, and then I would do some shifts.
Okay.
But then it was to the point now, people were coming because it was the Sky Club and it was Zanzibar. They wasn't coming because it was Butchie's show and
right.
And it's funny we say that because I've noticed over the years, times have changed. When we were growing up, it was more of you're going to a venue or a show because it's the hot thing right now.
Right.
You know, it's the hot club right now. It's the hot DJ right now. Now people are more so going because it's the hot promoter now. It's the hot whatever. And I'm like, I hope we can get back to that because there's not too many clubs and stuff in this area. But
yeah, there really aren't.
Yeah, there really aren't. So the times have changed. More and more people go to events that they know who's throwing it, who's associated with it. And that's cool. I mean, I get it. But I tell people, venture out there. You'd be surprised. You may like this event over here. You may like this event over there.
That's true.
I mean, support everybody. That's my thing. Support everybody. Like,
and you never know what group or crew you're going to run into where,
true.
You know what I'm saying? I think different people kind of give different events.
Yeah. And like, I never thought I would like a wine festival until I went to one.
I mean, there's something about a good wine festival.
Yeah, I wasn't into that. I wasn't into the wine festival until I went to one. I'm like, shit, I've been missing out all this time. So I started going to wine festival.
So what are you working on currently? What do you have coming down the pike for us?
Currently, we have a festival in Hudson Valley, New York. You remember we did it last year. We got another one coming up in August. Currently, I'm at Shark Bar this Sunday with, oh man, I'm telling y'all, if y'all have not seen Pure Elegance Band perform lately, you're in for a treat.
So this Sunday at Shark Bar?
This Sunday at Shark Bar. It's a day party. No work Monday, so there's no excuse why you can't come.
What time?
In the game, the Commanders play on Saturday. The show is on Sunday.
Shout out to the Commanders.
It's from 4 to 10. I got Pure Elegance Band. I got Doc for Faces You Know.
Okay.
And this is Doc's first time performing in Shark Bar in probably about 4 or 5 years. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, so he got, Doc, I mean, I got to give Doc credit, man. Doc been rocking and rolling with Faces You Know for years out in VA, man. He's built a brand out there. And I said, Doc, man, you got to come back to Maryland and DC and do some stuff, man. So I said, let's get together, powwow, and we're going to do this event. And then I got DJ Casp and I got DJ Biggs. Me and Biggs went to Norfolk State together. Then he went over to Virginia State.
Shout out to DJ Casp. That's my
and DJ Biggs. So I got them. And it's funny because I used to do holiday Sundays all the time, hotel parties, and I stopped. And then I said, what the hell, I'll do it. So I said, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that's going to be a great show, y'all. Tickets only $25. Okay. Tables are $100. Sofa sections are $200, $250 with a bottle. So I got that. I got my ski trip. I've been doing ski trips.
Wait, what's the time again?
4 to 10 p.m.
Okay.
I got my ski trips coming up. I've been doing ski trips for probably a little over 10 years now. And I had to say, again, the ski trips aren't my events. I'm just an affiliate.
Okay.
So I've been learning.
Where do you all go skiing?
So we go skiing up in Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So, and I've learned, and again, as you said, as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little more seasoned with the things that I do, and I'm more strategic on the things I do now too. So a lot of events I don't have to put together no more because people have already put the event together, and they say, hey man, would you like to be a part of this? And then, it's
that's
a big
always
yes for me.
Plus,
yeah. And then of course we got Jamaica coming up. Shout out to, VP Production and Brian. I became an affiliate with them about 4 years ago. These guys have mastered the art when it comes to travel. So it's like my thing now is that I've always wanted to travel. I've gotten to travel probably around 2000. When did I get my passport? I got my passport, and I just really started traveling maybe about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I got my passport in 2017, and I've been to a lot of places. But these guys, man, when it comes to travel and vacations, I got to give VP and Brian their props, man. They put these events together. They create this thing called the affiliate link, where you basically don't have to do nothing but just get your people to come, and you're a part of that event. So I've been doing that for probably 3 or 4 years now. We actually got another trip coming up to Colombia, if not mistaken. Brian, chime in if you can. Greece, they got the cruise to Greece.
You always got to give a big shout out to Jamaica. And then you said Colombia and Greece?
Yeah, Colombia got a cruise to Greece.
That's awesome.
I'm also working with Virgin Cruise Line now too. Virgin Cruise Line got a cruise ship that is just amazing. It's adult only.
Really? Oh, adult only.
So yes,
love that.
I've been learning now. Hey, a lot of people, as we getting older, a lot of us don't party no more, but we travel more now.
Yeah.
So you know me, I'm a jack of all trades. I'm a travel agent now too.
See a need, feel a need.
Yeah, see a need, feel a need. And I got a trip in March on Virgin Cruise Line, and I want to blow that thing up because, like the Tom Joyner cruise, that thing sells out every year, and the Capital Dash cruise. I want to be able to do something like that, and I have my own cruise and Virgin Cruise. So I'm talking to Chubb Rock. Yeah, Chubb Rock been talking about doing something like that and do a hip hop cruise. They done it before. I think the Black Promoter Collective. I could be wrong. I think they've done a hip hop cruise before, but me and Chubb been talking about doing that and making it really big and getting with Virgin Cruise Lines to do that. So we're gonna start having some conversations with them. So look out for that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely. And so where do people look to follow you and look for your information as far as updates on your events and everything?
You can follow me on Butchie Farrell Facebook, Butchie Boy 1123 on Instagram, my website, Distinguished Entertainment. Shout out to my son Paul who created that for me. And that's how you can find me. And you'll see all my events and everything up there too. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then with regard to, I wanted to ask you about your inspiration, right? So I know, different people inspired you in your life, but what words of inspiration or what motto would you say is are your words to live by, the thing that always pops back up in your head, and it's just that one quote that from your childhood through now, and it's never failed you and it's never left you? What's your one?
Prior planning prevents poor performance.
I love that.
That's my go-to all the time. Prior planning prevents poor performance. Of course, my motivation, inspiration come from God. We all know that.
Yeah.
And then my kids, being a dad, like you said. And let me back up for a second. I'm so sorry. I had twins when I was 1997, but I do have a beautiful daughter by the name of Trinity.
Shout out to Trinity!
I know she probably like, my dad ain't shout me out. And she
shout out to Trinity.
And let me tell you, man, to everybody in this go-go realm that keeps saying go-go is dead, go-go's not dead.
By far.
You got a little girl by the name of Trinity Farrell, right? that plays the piano. But guess who she loves to hear perform?
Who does she love to hear perform?
Justice J from Mental Attraction Band.
Yes, yes.
Sugar Bear from EU.
Yes, yes.
And the Junkyard Band.
And the Junkyard Band. A young lady after my own heart. I'm just saying.
For everybody to say that go-go's dead, go-go's not dead, because we got a whole genre of people, young kids that are actually embracing the music now.
And it's funny because I don't think people realize the way that go-go music is expanding. It's not the way that it should be, but the way that it is expanding is by our word of mouth, by the legacy that's been created. The fact that my daughter just told me, my daughter's 15, and she just told me yesterday that she has a friend at her school who's from Jamaica. And she's like, somebody said something about go-go. And her friend was like, well, what's go-go? And so immediately she pulls up, T.O.B. on the front porch. She's like, that's the first go-go I thought of. Like Chris, Mr. Chris on the front porch. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. That was a good example too. But I remember being in college in Selma, Alabama, and I remember my godbrothers playing, go-go tapes and videos for everybody down there. And yes, they were all like, oh, I'm coming to DC. Especially when they saw, the videos. But, it's definitely been expanding by word of mouth. And I think we, need to give it its credence. So what do you think would make the difference, though? What do you think is what it's waiting on for go-go to truly pop like it should have popped so many decades ago.
I was listening yesterday. I was listening to the show on BAM show, and I know BJ.
Shout out to BAM 640.
It was a couple of guys. BJ got a big show coming up with the Crank Bands Saturday. He got the Unit, RCA. I'm sorry, Red Carpet Affairs.
Okay.
Lit Band. I can't remember the other band he got on the card. And one of the guys, he was real strategic and instrumental on what Go-Go needed to do. And he dropped some nuggets. And one of the things he said, building that coalition, of older cats and younger cats to, to bridge that gap, to build a coalition together so we can see what we need to do to take Go-Go to the next level. Yeah. He said, make sure all Go-Go bands have an LLC.
I love that.
They have their ASCOT account. They got their BMI account. Make sure you got your stuff straight. One thing, when I first became manager of M.A.B, matter of fact, it's my 2-year anniversary today with M.A.B, believe it or not. Yeah.
Happy anniversary, Butchie!
One of the things me and BJ had to do was sit down and talk about how do we get M.A.B to that next level of success. And we talked about a lot of things, and some of the things I had to get him to understand and he had to get me to understand was we got to break this music outside the Beltway. So one of the things we started doing was we started streaming a lot of our music.
That's smart.
Yeah. And I told BJ, I said, BJ, look, I didn't know M.A.B back in the days. They've been around 20 years. I said, I didn't know M.A.B back then. I said, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to re-release all your old music to the general public.
I like that.
So we put all their music out on the streaming platforms, and we started doing YouTube stuff and everything. And he got a letter one day. He said, Bush, you ain't gonna believe this. I said, what? He said, our music is streaming #1 over in France. I'm like, BJ,
go ahead, mental attraction.
He's like, yeah, man, we are streaming. And I told him, I said, see, don't limit yourself. Yes. I said, because there's a lot of bands in this area, but there's few places to perform.
Right.
And sometimes there's nothing wrong with breaking outside the Beltway to expand your brand and expand your band.
Right.
That's why I think I give credit to the Trouble Funk, EU, Junkyard. They went out the Beltway and they expanded and they did their thing in Black Alley. Now they going to Cuba next month. So don't be afraid to expand your brand and expand your band to other markets. I mean, Atlanta is cranking right now. Ohio. Even New York. We took M.A.B went up to New York last year. We supposed to go for New Year's Eve, but the promoter, shout out to Lafayette, he had an injury, so he couldn't.
But I like what you said you all did. So yes, we're traveling places, and that's great. That's wonderful, right? But oftentimes when we travel places, everybody that goes to the show are people that came with us, from here. Now, but whereas when you're streaming and you're making sure that everything is up on the World Wide Web, you all are probably not taking a trip to Peru. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, what's funny?
You might not have a club to play at.
I was telling BJ,
but they can still hear you now.
They can still hear us. However, there are promoters out, in other parts of the country and world that wouldn't mind bringing us to France or to Rome or to wherever. So I told him, man, if we're streaming enough to the point that we're #1 for 4 or 5 weeks, I'll start reaching out to the radio stations out there, the promoters out there, and see what we can do to get out there, to go.
Right, but what I'm saying is, so by you streaming, you're not just reaching out to them.
Yeah.
Right now, before you even get an interest in them, you're piquing an interest in all these other places. Like you all aren't. You might go to Paris, but you don't have Istanbul on the list yet. But right now, you're actively streaming in Istanbul. All somebody has to do is click on the link.
And you know what? Another thing too, man, we are more visual than anything. Yes. And I got to give a shout out to the Relentless Band, and I want to say CCB. They have been dropping some really great music videos, and I tell a lot of people, man, drop some music videos too. I'm talking about real music videos, not the one somebody recording you in the damn show. No, drop some music videos because we're lacking in that.
Yeah, shout out to Obsession. I like their
Obsession
new video.
They do. Shout out to D and Everett, man. They got some stuff too. So start creating some music videos and get it out there. I mean, you'll be surprised, man, who's watching you.
And I know her video isn't a go-go video, but shout out to Justice J.
Oh yeah, Justice J too.
Because she's been dropping consistently. And you can if you're looking on social media, you see her moving, you see something happening. So definitely make sure you're checking her out too. So and like you said, shout out to Everett because those visuals from Christmas for Obsession, not just their video, but then they put out some photos too and things. They've been doing some big things.
And one of the visions I want to do for Go-Go, I've been talking to me and Sugar Bear. We talk. Me and Sugar Bear, we talk all the time, man. One of the things I wanted.
Can you tell him to come on my show, please?
Everybody, hey, Sugar Bear, you hear that? You hear that, babe? We've been trying to get you.
Can everybody please tag Sugar Bear in this video? Because I would really love to hear his words of inspiration.
one of the things I wanted to do, because again, this market is kind of saturated, and you have a lot of go-go bands. But guess what? There are a lot of venues that we haven't even touched on or even scratched the surface that we can do. And one of the things I wanted to do, and I got this idea when I flew to New Orleans. When I flew to New Orleans, you get off the plane. First thing you see is a jazz band in the lobby. Yeah. I would love to have different bands at the airport.
That is such a, okay.
Yeah, now Scooby did it. I'm be honest with you. Scooby did it one time, I believe.
But shouldn't that be a regularly occurring thing for you, especially when you're landing at where?
In D.C.
D.C.
Right. So I would love to have some go-go bands in rotation playing at the airport. Now, here's another thing, too. Brian Mills from Secret Society actually started this. He didn't even realize he started this. What? To have go-go bands playing in the lobbies of hotels. Okay. Now, back probably, it's been a minute now, about 8 or 9 years ago, Brian used to play at the Holiday Inn downtown. And that place used to be jumping. I would love for all the hotels, whether it's the DoubleTrees, the Hilton, the Marriott's, or what's the other one? What's the other hotels? You got the Hilton, you got the Marriott. You got Hyatt. There you go, Hyatt. Yeah. I would love for those hotels to say, look, why don't we start doing business with these bands? Right. Hire them to perform in the lobbies, because DC is a big city, and there are a lot of conventions, a lot of people flying in and out here. They love go-go music, maybe hear go-go music, but they're not going to the go-go because they don't even know what the damn go-go is.
Where they would go.
So why don't we bring the go-go to you?
That, and when you go to New Orleans, you cannot escape hearing the music, the sound of New Orleans. Go-go is the sound of DC. And now that it's finally the official music of DC, which sounds crazy that it took this long.
And you know what's crazy though?
It's
the official music of DC, but how many venues in DC have go-go bands? Even, not just allow it, but even having go-go bands performing there. Yeah. There's only a few. That's why I'm saying let's get into those hotel lobbies.
Make it the sound for real.
Make it the sound for real. And then guess what? People from wherever come in and say, hey, they got a great little show down in the lobby. Yeah. Check this out. And then we can introduce them to the bands and to the go-go music and stuff. And we don't have to go straight hard with it. We can, first set of just R&B.
Yeah, there's different levels to go.
The next set is cover, and then the closing show would be some crank. Right. I think that would be great for the city, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, to have these hotels open up their lobbies. So all, not just the big bands, but all the bands. Yeah. To give them that exposure. This way now, your band is eating. Everybody is working. You're gainfully employed. You're dropping music. And then the music videos. It's funny. I was in the airport looking at the commercial. And lo and behold, who I see? I see EU and Sugar Bear video. I'm like, they playing EU and Sugar Bear video in the airport.
That's cool.
Why not have our videos in the airport? Right. That's my thing. And one of the things I want to do as I get older, because I'm trying to slow down. Big. I would love to create a red light district where you got clubs, whether it's DC, Maryland, Virginia, I don't care. Where you got clubs and bars all on one strip, and you can just club hop to any one, and you see a go-go band here, go-go band here, go-go band there.
I would prefer that it was in Maryland, even though I know we would rather it be in DC. Only because why? Tell me why I would prefer it to be in Maryland.
Parking.
Why is there nowhere to park in DC?
It's funny. I partied in DC a lot in my
I don't remember having that problem, right?
Well, you're right. I don't know what that problem is, and maybe they need to come up with some parking lots.
They came up with the zone parking and stuff. When we were growing up, you could park on the street as long as
zoning was the issue. Now they got a lot of these damn bike lanes.
Yeah, that's a lot of bike different ball game.
Stuff, so
but we need parking.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't want to do go-go in PG County for a long time. I don't know if you ever heard the story about my event getting shut down in PG County. Oh, yeah, that was...
What happened? Why did it get shut down?
So about 10 years ago, my team, Right Way Productions, we partnered up with Jahar and Team Familiar to do a big show, and Mo Kemp, to do a big show at the hotel. It was the Best Western. Is that the Best Western? Is that the Best Western? No, Metro Points. Okay. A New Year's Eve party with Team Familiar and Angie Stone. And I mean, this party was we was just selling tickets and doing this and doing that. All of a sudden, man, they said, man, we cannot have our event there because of some stupid CB18 law. I'm like, what the hell is a CB18 law? I had no idea what this shit was. I didn't understand it. So me, myself, Jahar, it was a law that was supposed to curb the violence in PG County because there was some issues going on back then.
Yeah.
But it had nothing to do with us because this CB18 law was supposed to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, D. Floyd and Jahar, to curb the violence for people who was having these pop-up parties in barbershops and beauty salons and these places where you're not licensed to do events.
Yeah, to do events.
Hotels was grandfathered in, so they had to worry about the CB18 law. I'm making a long story short, man, the county shut us down. We was on the news. I mean, it was it was a big mess. So Ron Moten, man, I always tell everybody, man, Ron Moten can call me if I'm sick with COVID in the hospital and say, Butcher, I need you, I'm there. Wow. This dude stepped up, rallied around us, got together, man, and started having some meetings, got the petition signed. We going to the council member, we going to the board, and we started meeting with these people and say, look, man, y'all got to do something about this because y'all are shutting people down and we're losing jobs. I mean, this wasn't just affecting the promoter and the go-go band. It was affecting sound companies, bartenders, security. Yeah. And it was just a big mess, man. So myself, Michelle Blackwell, Super Dan, DJ Easy, Ivi, DeLand, we all got together. Super Dan, we all got together. Right now, we all got together. It was a bunch of us. And we marched, we rallied, we went to the meetings, the hearings. And we say, look, man, we need to get this thing overturned. And lo and behold, guess what? I mean, some years later, my understanding that the law got turned around. Those council members that was fighting this, we got them out of office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's when I really understood this whole politics thing. And I remember meeting with, what's the guy named the county? He was the county exec back then. We had a meeting with him, me, Super Dan, and Ron. And he was like, hey, y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't shut y'all event down. He said it was them council members that shut your event down.
I believe
it. My daughter actually bought a ticket for us to go to y'all damn show. We started laughing. Wow. He was like, I was so looking forward to going to the show. So the crazy part about it, make a long story short, we was able to have the event, but then they told us we couldn't have liquor. And this is New Year's Eve. So how the fuck you know?
How you gonna have an event on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, so we had the event, but we took the event to Eclipse nightclub in DC.
Okay.
And we still familiar, team familiar back then. Man, Angie Stone, she still performed.
Okay.
And she was so cool. She like, y'all, I don't care if we performing on the street or shit.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm still gonna perform. Y'all did what y'all need to do. And then
that says a lot. Yeah. Shout out to Angie Stone. That says a lot.
That was a big movement that went on. And that's actually how that DC Go-Go community group got started, believe it or not, because we started that to start getting people more involved. And say, look, y'all got to start getting more involved with the politics, what's going on with your community. Yeah. And you got to get in there. You got to find out why certain things are being built in your area, why certain things are being closed in your area. Yeah. You got to get involved. I didn't know.
Seriously, and as we're sitting on the cusp of this inauguration, that can't be said just lightly. Like, too many people wait until the presidential election to get involved or concerned about what's going on.
And you know what's funny? One of the reasons I was really upset with the county is because they told us one of the reasons why we couldn't have the event because they couldn't police it. And they was like, yeah, it costs too much for us to take our cops and our officers off for the beat to go, secure your event. I said, hold up, time out. I said, every Sunday down in FedEx Field, there's 80,000 people. I said, I'm pretty sure 70% of the police force is there on a fucking Sunday. So you're not going to fucking tell me that you can't get us 2 police to moonlight at our event so we can make sure our people are safe. They're paying taxes in this fucking county to have a good time. Law got overturned, and guess what? Anytime you see a police officer or a cop car in front of a nightclub, you can thank Ron Moten, you can thank Super Dan, Ray Nail, myself, Michelle Blackwell, DJ Easy. Then now they allow them to moonlight some more. Now I don't know if this was a little while ago. I don't know how the laws have changed now and if they can still do that, but we were the reason why now officers, whether the sheriffs or PG County, can moonlight. Because at first they were telling them they couldn't moonlight.
That's just crazy.
It was crazy, man. That's when I really started understanding politics.
So, would you like to explain really quickly what the difference is, the biggest differences, real quick, that you can name between the go-go that you went to, where your mama called you on the speaker, and what the go-go is today. Because a lot of people went to a go-go between then and let's say 2000, right? Mm-hmm. And then they haven't been back, and it's now 24 years later. So I don't think people really might realize, and maybe that's why we run into so much static with some of the places and venues we try to team up with.
So, go-go had a stigmatism about itself, about the violence and stuff. Yes. And I think growing up during my time, there was a lot of violence in go-go. Mm-hmm. And people associated go-go with violence, and it wasn't really the case. Right. I mean, when you got crews that are beefing with each other, right, coming to a same place, right, shit gonna pop off. Right. It just so happened that it popped off at the go-go.
Because that's where it was.
That's where it was. But,
where they were hanging out. Right. That's but all again, at shit, that time.
You could be at a fucking McDonald's and two crews get together and something pop off. Yeah. But then you shut the go-go down, but you won't shut the McDonald's down. Then they try to relate the violence to go-go. And I mean, it that was always I guess the narrative. And then fast forward, go-go started getting a little more organized when you had more promoters promoting the event. You had, and some of the bands, like shout out to Polo, rest in peace, they started doing their own shows too. So they had a little bit more control. Right. So I think that's what it was now. They went from, not organized to the point you're associating go-go with violence, and then more so a little more creative control. Yeah. So you can kind of like control the situation. I mean, like of course, if you're a Junkyard fan, more than likely a lot of Junkyard fans were coming out of Southeast. Right. So they would probably party more in Southeast, right, as opposed to coming uptown. Prime example, I mean, my band back then was Air Raid and Northeast Connection and EU. Now EU, I got to give them credit. They would should be able to play any goddamn way. But certain other bands, they would just play in that area where they was brought up in. Right. And then as we gotten older, I mean, the violence kind of really went away because the drugs went away. The crime went away. And then then gentrification came and revitalization came. And then that's a thing of the past now. And I tell people all the time that go-go wasn't violent. It just stuff happened at go-go's.
And I think that's just because that was the hangout spot. Yeah. So because of the fact that drugs were so rampant in the DC area, I think that the club that we had, which was the go-go, that was our club.
It's like hip-hop, man. I mean, you go to a hip-hop concert in New York, man, them brothers fighting. You go to LA. I mean,
not now.
Not now.
But back then they were.
Yeah, back then. I mean, you go to LA, go to Crenshaw and see how they was getting down. You couldn't be from Long Island coming to Crenshaw trying to, they gang banging out there. So it wasn't necessarily the event, it was just the people.
Yeah, I agree.
But as we gotten older, more and more people just want to have a good time.
And that's it, and that's all. A wholesome good time at that.
I can't remember who I was talking to, and they were like, I don't go to go-go's because it's violent. I said, I can't remember a shooting or a killing at a go-go.
So that was going to be my next question. When is the last time, forget a shooting or a killing, when's the last time you even saw somebody in a good fight at the go-go?
I haven't seen nobody in a good fight in a long, long time. Because we old now.
I was going to say, how many people do you see there that look like they could get up the next day after a good fight?
I mean, back in the day, somebody step on your foot, you ready to rumble. Now somebody step on your foot, oh man, my bad, brother, let me buy you a drink.
Don't even worry about it. That's how we all
old ass shoes, right. That's how it is now. So I think, what's funny? I saw a fight probably about 8 years ago, man. It's dude, man. At Fast Eddie's. It's about 8 years ago. I don't know what happened. I was standing right there, right? And dude did something to the dude, man. Slim put his drink down and said, wop, wop, and that joke spilled outside. But security was so fast that you had to be right there to see it.
Yeah.
Like, did this dude just hit this nigga with a two-piece? They got the rumbling some kind of bad, but the security was right there on it. And that's another thing, too. They started having more security now. Right. And again, so
but generally speaking, I don't see the security get any work at the go. And when I go to the go-go, because nobody's giving any status.
We're not trying to do that no more.
We're not doing that. We're too cute for that now.
I'm gonna tell you how I was able to curb a lot of the violence at Zanzibar.
How? Dress code.
Dress code. Yeah, dress code is one. And a lot of people didn't understand this. I started creating an email list where I was able to have a person's name, not even knowing that they know I was doing creative control, whereas I had your name. If something pop off and police need some names, here's the list right here. Yeah, your name is on that list, so they already know who's in the venue. Right. We started doing that with the Sky Club, and a lot of people didn't know how we was doing that, but we did that more so not just to protect us, but to protect you as well. So if somebody do something happened, we were able to give a report.
Who all was at least supposed to be there.
You know.
Well, even with even as a woman going in the club or whatever, I remember I didn't like going in person to all the go-go's back in the day. Why? Because somebody was always grabbing my butt or whatever, right? I was always getting, accosted or something. Whereas now, nobody's bothering me. Nobody's touching me. Nobody's in my space. Ain't nobody thinking about me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can go have a ball and I can dance if I want to and everything, and I can leave unscathed.
You know what I really miss about go-go's? I miss what? Back then we used to dance.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody got the cell
What's his name?
Up.
Is his name Larry? Do you know who I'm talking about? There's this guy who he is all. I mean, when the go-go is over, he is sweating.
Oh yeah.
Is his name Larry? He's light skinned. I think he wears glasses.
But I think that's who it is. But
there's not many of us who are getting down. Like I don't care what I look like.
I wish we would go back to the dancing and just having a good time. Put your cell phones away, man.
Yeah.
I want to have a no cell phone party.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. Even for somebody who tries to record, sometimes like I try to get content for my show and everything, so I can tell you all what's going on. Speaking of which, make sure you check out Club Level Up. It was awesome. They had a party Sunday for the Commanders. They had a fan appreciation party. They had Northeast Groovers there. It was a great show, great venue. They have bottle girls on deck, VIP. They're ready for birthday parties and the such. Make sure you reach out, definitely. That's a Twio production, The World Desires.
Yeah, that's I saw the video.
It was great. It was great for real.
I just wish people just start dancing.
But you just want to... Because I don't necessarily, because I'm dancing, want to be on your camera dancing, though.
Yeah. You know, like, oh, Slim, no.
Right.
Put your phone down and have a good time. That's my thing.
Right. Yeah, that's the truth. And at concerts, too, everybody, all performers say that they wish that anyway, that people would sometimes just put the phone away and just enjoy the show.
Anita Baker here. I went to Anita Baker's show, and she told the people, y'all put them damn cell phones away. And he'd be saying, I want y'all to have a good time tonight. She said, put them damn cell phones away.
Yeah.
Put away.
I think Rihanna says that, too. Like, put the phones down. Well, I mean, I guess you know how long ago that concert was, though. Yeah. I've been to some since then. Don't worry.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mind the cell phones and stuff like that. But if you're at a party, just have a good time. Put the phone down and just relax and enjoy yourself.
So now,
I'm bad at that too. Because sometimes I would like to record.
Of course.
And I learned. I'll try to think. What somebody said? Don't record the whole damn show. So now I don't. Yeah,
I'm cognizant of that.
Yes, I ain't gonna record the whole show. Maybe like a minute or two, and then just get people to come out and have a good time. But yeah, I don't do that no more.
So as we're wrapping up here, we're closing out and everything. Can you leave us with a final positive word of encouragement for our viewers? All of my shows all kind of culminate to one final mission or one final point, and that is that existing is not enough in this world. So can you tell us a few words on why existing is not enough for you in your life? Why do you live instead of existing?
Well, I live because I want to just keep striving for perfection. I want to keep doing what matters. We all have a purpose in life. You got to understand what your purpose is. And once you understand your purpose, you follow through. You do what you need to do. And that's my thing. I always wake up to say, how can I be another better version of me? What can I do to better myself? I'm into the praying now more. I'm into the meditating more. I'm into the stretching more. We talked about that.
Yeah.
I'm into the fasting more. Getting more in tune to God, to the universe, and see what's out there for me.
I love that. Definitely. That's a great word for the people. And I think those are words to live by. Wouldn't you all say so? Again, our Thankful Thursday thought for today is, I'm not who I might need to be tomorrow or who I want to be. And I'm not, I am who I am today, but I'm not who I used to be yesterday. And so you have to be thankful that you're not the person that you were yesterday, yesteryear, whenever it was. You've evolved, you've grown. No matter how much your growth has been, you have grown. So be thankful for that, be appreciative of that, and continue to be the best you can be. You know why? Because there's nobody out here better suited for the job. And if you don't do it, nobody else will. Just saying.
She got that radio voice, y'all.
Have a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon. Also, I'm going out doing my interviews, and I'm looking to see where I'm going to next. So if you have a great event or something that you think would be a great opportunity for a pop-up there, please feel free to email me at mika@lavishconversations.com. Thanks.
That was a good show.
Now let's close out with our...
Hey, look, let me talk my talk. Let me speak my piece. It's for all my dogs. Coming straight off the leash. She kill 'em all like the Reaper. I need a girl like Nika. She jumping out the gym on all them hoes. Shorty came straight out the bleachers. Hey, she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, she came through with the combo. Cause Shorty's too lavish. Hey, that girl she the baddest. Hey, that girl too bad. Hey, look, she came straight with the combo.